Karomo, as the mindset of the Kenyan people shifted even an inch from the previous elections, or are we just talking because we like talking, just like we are being Kenyans?
Let me pass it on to Mjadala. I finish up with something, then I come back. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and then Mjadla will have to tell me that I posted Matiangi's video because it was the best he did yesterday in in DC. My goodness, you guys are gonna swing my mind back and forth until maybe I don't know when. But Karibu Mjadla, good to see you, brother.
Oh, nice to see you too. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, lazy Sunday hapa hivi na nimeshukuru ya kwamba umeanzisha mkutano hapa.
Yeah.
Na hivi punde nitabadilisha nianze kuongea Kizungu kwa sababu wewe na Kiswahili hamuelewani kabisa.
Oh, you actually proved me like, you know what? I can't believe I need to go back for my money. Swahili money.
Ni kweli kabisa. Kama singenge yenyewe haujui ni nini, unaanza kutafuta kamusi, wewe hauwezi kusaidika. Today I'm very happy that when I joined the forum, what you're talking about is something I've been preaching the whole time.
Right.
For a very long time, we've been saying that, oh, Mashinani needs civic education, Mashinani needs civic education. No, Mashinani know when the economy is bad before you know it. Do you know why? Because shosho yako ama nyanya yako ama bibi yako ama ukitaka kumuita hiyo jina yote ile knows that the price of milk has gone up before you know it wewe mtu wa Nairobi. Why? Because yeye anauza hiyo maziwa. You get? Akiambiwa kwamba kikombe moja sasa ni 50 ama lita moja sasa ni 100 bob, anajua tayari uchumi sio poa. Akitaka kuuza ndizi yake, waru yake, samaki yake, already they know the economy is not good. Wewe ukifika Nairobi kitambo hii, samaki ama maziwa kufika Nairobi, yeye ashajua. So it's a futile effort if you keep saying, oh, tupeleke sijui civic education mashinani. That's garbage, hogwash. And this is what I think Anthony is talking about. And Anthony, I don't know why you are labeled as a sympathist to Wagashaga, because you have a brilliant mind. And I like your mind because you always speak of structure. And that is the one thing that if we can get to, then we can have a good day here. You ask Justice if the Kenyan mindset is changing. Yes, it's changing. It's not only Kenya. If you look across the region, the mindset of Africans is changing. Not only Kenya, it's a regional awakening that's happening right now. Why do I say this? If you look at Tanzania, they're revolting. If you look at Uganda, they're revolting. If you look at the West, they're revolting. Ukiangalia any country that has a sensible critical mass of educated people, they're revolting. Why? Because they can see that wakoloni waliondoka, lakini tukaachiwa wakoloni ambao are even worse. People who look like us, breathe like us, have our same names, but they're terrible. They're the worst governors, they're the worst custodians of the resources and the human power or human labor that we have, human capital that we have. Okay, so it's a regional awakening. In fact, many people are saying that the Gen Z movement died. No. Something was planted, and I don't like calling it a Gen Z movement. It was a Kenyan movement. The Kenyan movement or the awakening that's happening, even if you think about it, even right now, a lot of the people on the mic right now are not Gen Zs. Pengine Liol tu na Anthony. Kwa hiyo ubaki wote wamekunywa maziwa ya nyanya. So
Jadala, you need to apologize.
I'm not going to apologize to Leah.
It's Leon and Betty, actually.
The point here is there's an awakening that's happening, to answer your question, and it's here to stay. Why is the movement still alive? The movement is alive because of things like Anthony is saying. They are contributing money to bail out the people who are unjustly arrested during the Mandamara. That's beautiful. That's the awakening that's happening, and it's here to stay. Now, I want to challenge Anthony. Umetuambia sana mambo ya Obama, but if we're going to structure, you know, Kenyans are terrible. Human beings are very, very terrible because we rarely read. You unatuambia tutunde tufanye, hiyo haitafanyika. So I'm going to challenge us as the regulars of this space. Let's actually have a day that Justice plays what you're citing. You kitu cite, Anthony. Justice plays maybe 15 minutes or 10 minutes of it. Tunachambua. Another 15 minutes tunachambua. Hivyo. That's the only way this is going to take root. Otherwise, hizo vitu tunasema ni vya kaza bunwasi. Hakuna mtu ataenda kuangalia. So if we really want to learn and have structure, this is what I'm saying. We are pacing ourselves. Hakuna tikwenda kutoa mtu kwa White House. It might happen. You window in the sema Anthony lipita. Unaona ile siku ya parliament tungeendelea hivyo mpaka White House maybe ingefanyika then. But right now we have to pace ourselves and have long-lasting structures that are here to stay, and for the idea of doing these things strategically moving forward. Hence, mimi leo nataka kuannounce hadharani, nataka kusimamia presidency. Asante,
Oh,
asante Justice.
no, you might be serious. But I also wanted to correct you that in Kenya we have state houses, not white houses. But that's just trivial. I have a. Why do we have state lodges everywhere in the country? Does really someone knows why we need them? State lodges, and now they have to build one in Kitui to add another one.
Wait, you wanted to correct me how? Policy this year?
No, I just I know. Of course, it's I know many people make that slip of the tongue by calling it a White House instead of State House. But
Oh,
no. But why do we have state lodges everywhere in the country?
it's the same way we have pictures everywhere in the country. But nobody cares about the picture of the president in the wall. It's stupid.
But at least Ruto did away with the yule mtu mwenye alikuwa anasimama nyuma ya president na kumbe sio security. Do you remember how that used to happen? Ruto
Uh,
doesn't have one.
I don't know. I don't pay too much attention on that. I think that's a superficial thing that it doesn't really matter. If you're a good governor or you're a bad one, whether you have that or not, doesn't matter.
Anyway, guys, karibu sana. And again, the conversation is that how then do we move from this kind of lamentations and just talk into, really actualizing these things in a way that is going to benefit? How prepared are we? The by-elections are coming. This is a litmus test before 2027. Here's the litmus test coming. The by-elections. What exactly, if now we're saying that, yes, for sure, the Gen Zs are going to make a difference, you have something that is not perfect. In fact, they announced that in the next 2 weeks, they're going to give us the clear timeline, and possibly within 90 days, 3 months only, we might have the elections if they want to regazette that. How prepared are we? How ready are we when they reopen the registration? What are we doing? How do we mobilize? I know Kenyans don't like donating for politicians, but how are we going to do like what Anthony is doing to mobilize resources that are going to get people to the polls, to get people to register, to even do some basic things? And we're not talking about bribing people. We're talking about logistical funding of these movements. But the question Anthony always asks, we are not even organized to know where that money goes.
Lakini nikuulize Justice. Why do you
Yeah.
keep asking this question how as though it's never been done before?
What has been done?
There are amongst us people who have mobilized grassroots movements.
Right.
You, Justice, for example, you keep saying that you're an ODM through and through. So the question you're asking why, you actually have the answer to it. Some of us here who have run for office for their, unions at work, for their schools, for every level of administration, people have run for office. So people know these things. Heck, Anthony keeps telling us here that he's a part of groups that are doing exactly what you're asking, the why. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this. Your question is, we're better than this. No, we're not. We are who we are. We are who we are. We are who we are at the moment. So better, nirvana, we are better than this hakuna. We are who we are. So the collective skills that we've gained, all of us, okay, right? Collective skills, yourself, people like Miriam who speaks all the time. You've heard too many smart things for us to keep going back to how. We know how to do it. So it's just saying, okay, well, let's galvanize and do it. That's really it.
But any opportunity that we have to educate the younger people, they tell us those are your old ways. The reason that's why I ask this sometimes is more of trying to tell our fellow, the brothers and sisters who are coming now into the voting block that these things need more than just sensitization and talking. They need way more than that. That's the point I'm making, because we have seen it. We have realized how difficult it is to even, not only even to raise funds, but even to spend it. You know how challenging it is to spend campaign money? You've never been in that room when we can't even agree who to pay, and then we have to go to our pocket, and yet the money is right there. Proceed, Anthony.
Well, you don't need
And I'm not
to.
attacking Leol, by the way. just for the record.
You,
So
you
that I
don't
don't
need to
get into.
convince. You don't need to convince. You don't need to teach people, young people. You see, that's the problem. We are theorizing. What I have realized when we started this campaign for the one I've just put in your jump role is that people gravitate to action. So start with 100,000 and post, we've raised 100,000 amongst yourselves. Then people want to see results. So CC, we millennials, we people who have seen these things, we are too much on the talk. So as we tell young people, organize, put yourself into groups, we should have been doing it. Then if we started doing it, then they would have something. Justice, do you know the first thing a human and all animals learn? They learn imitation. That's the first thing you learn. You learn by imitating. So let's stop telling young people what to do. Can we start doing it? Then they'll be like, oh, then I can bring my graphics works here. I can bring my legal mind here. Because naturally, human beings and all other animals, they follow a structure. If an ant somewhere has lost its colony and it sees other ants moving in one direction, it will just come into that line and continue. Same thing for a sheep. A lost sheep sees other sheep, it joins those sheep. If we want young people to start organizing, and that's why I stopped talking. I looked for a group where people were actually organized and I just plugged in. Okay? And I'll keep on saying, if you follow what we are doing online, the first day we said we've secured the release of 5 people. Today, Justice, as we speak, we've secured bail for 51 Kenyans. Tomorrow, we are going to do another, I think, 20 in Thika. Government has tried to attack us, including the deputy president, but they can't find an angle. Because one, what you're doing is not wrong. 2, they can't say you have money from I don't know where. It's Kenyans sending money. So it's something that Kenyans believe in. So Kenyans will gravitate to anything that you show them. 1, you are organized. 2, you have results. And 3, you have an agenda. So we have an agenda, bailing people out. Number 2, we have results. We are giving you actual numbers in real time of the people who have been bailed out. 3, there's a structure. Okay, there's a legal department and all that. So can we show young people how this thing is done? And they'll gravitate towards it.
Yo, I agree. Alafu, one of the
Therefore,
questions that...
niruhusu tu niseme kitu very quickly hapo host.
Sure. And then you can
Therefore, the most logical thing to do, Anthony, we keep asking this how. The most logical thing is for Anthony and this group to host spaces and host a public place, but public one-on-ones where they recruit people to join the movement. You get like kwa sababu sasa kama pasa hivi letuko si Anthony apewe 5 minutes aongee kabisa kuhusu hiyo movement, how we can plug in, how everybody hivyo na tuendelee kwa sababu hatutashinda hapa go in circles, and Anthony is already showing us and his group are showing us that is something that's working.
Right. Yeah, and even sometimes planning like a good meeting where we can have Anthony, even if it's make a flyer, just sensitize people, come in, talk about these things. So that now we completely move from this talk of back and forth, who is going to do it, when you're going to start, when there's already something happening. If it's happening, where do we have to recreate anything else? If it's happening, that structures, and it's, it is something that is moving forward, then we can plug in also and be able to help. I like that. Lakini Anthony, umeniambia kitu moja niliambiwa na mchungaji wangu kitambo sana. He asked me the question, do you know why Christians are called sheep? And obviously I didn't know. I said, oh, it's because they are humble. Niambia no. Kaniambia
Justice uliambiwa na mchungaji ama ulikuwa unajiambia?
No, I was so akaniambia, I think the reason is, and they gave me a scripture from the Old Testament, is because I think kondoo are among the most foolish animals. Wanafuata tu mchungaji bila kuuliza maswali. Anyway, I wasn't meant to insult the Christian folk in the house, but to bring in Ruderman.
Yes, Justice. I have one question I wanted to ask before it slides. Yenye Mugambi alisema, I don't know whether it will be appropriate.
No, ask.
Now,
before Anton comes in back to give us a preview of the structure that's going on. Yeah.
Okay. I understand in Kenya we are applying the Terrorist Act of International standard. Is that true?
It was explained by Western and Academy early in the morning, and Mogambi will be the right one to address it. So there's a way they explained it. I understood it, but I would love if they can explain. I think being lawyers, whatever, and people are interested in that field, I would appreciate if maybe Academia or Mogambi can answer that. But I don't see them. Academia is here. Academia is here.
Okay.
Academia is
Let
here.
me ask a question. My question then.
So
You'll
ask
come
him
in.
a question then. Yeah. And then you
So,
come in after. Yeah.
if you are arrested, the government understands that these are the very, very high charges they can press it against an individual. And if you are arrested and charged with that, even if you will not be found guilty at the end of the day, you will be remaining with that fact that you are terrorist. And what will happen to those people, young people like us, who are going to apply for visas, going to outside the country? Maybe you are going to do your own things outside the country. Even in Kenya, getting employment, you must present a good conduct. And what if you are accused of a terrorism act? It might be not true, but so long as you have stepped in court that you have been accused in terrorism activities, what will happen to these people who are being accused that way? Will it have effect on the application of the visas? Will it have an impact on when they will be seeking employment? Mugambi said about that the judges are doing the good thing. Actually, from my side, I'm saying the justice system has failed completely.
I can answer that one because when that issue was raised last week, I checked with DHS, that's for the answer is that it won't affect you. That one, they have it explicitly explained there. In their form code DS 160, if you check, their line of questioning if you have ever been convicted. So you can look it up. It's one of the many questions they ask there. Among the top questions. DS 160, look it up. That it has a different framing other than just being taken to court. Yeah, that one I just wanted to make sure that I did check because it came up last week. The state record and all that, and I by that. But let me have academia come in on. Oh, drop against lawyers or what? I'd love to hear academic that
Si Academia
aspect.
yuko hapo.
Oh, maybe ni network yangu basi. Academia, karibu.
Academia dropped. He's not.
I think
Oh, amedrop.
we network yako ina take time kwa Sunday.
Wow. Mtu ajui sengenge ni nini ananipanta. Mayo, utakufa leo.
I can also see you have an academy is back. Academy can take it up. Textina, other people joining. Karomo, if when you are ready, let me know. Yes, participate. The question we are doing here is trying to move just from talk to action and trying to see are we the people better than we were maybe 5 years ago? Don't we deserve better? All according to Leol, serve these bad leaders because that is what you have been doing and you don't seem to have even learned anything. Go ahead.
Sijasema kitu kama hiyo just.
I knew it. In fact, I was about to tell just zite jina ya Leo. Atakuja hapa na ujinga. Hebu upatie mtu unawapatia tuendelee.
Who was coming in next academy? Yeah, Leon ndiye ametoka village latest. Sasa kuna fresh maziwa mala.
Yes, Justice Leon Bedala, Tony Rudi Kombo, Speaker, the rest. Habari zenu.
Doing good, my brother. Karibu.
Okay. Justice, unanipata?
Vizuri sana.
Niko na shida ya network kama. Okay, sawa. You want us to move from just talking and then to action.
Yes, and then together with that, you tried to respond to the question that was asked by. It was Ruda asked the question that the I think you had addressed the legal kind of act that they are using to catch people with terrorism, and why they would respond with lethal force if they are going to label you as a terrorist. Then they are protected internationally because that's part of what I think you guys call it securization, something like that. But go ahead.
Okay, under terrorism, they use an act of parliament, Prevention of Terrorism Act. They also use Security Law Act as amended in 2015. So another like the UN Security Council recommendation for terrorism activities or terrorism related activities. But now, what they're doing now, the act that they are relying on, define terrorism act activity, penalty, and other things that are considered you can be considered as a terrorist when you undertake them. So far, those charges cannot pass the test of terrorism act. They will just fall because there is nothing actually. These young guys need to constitute a terrorism activity or any other of such. So that is that, and they will just be released after paying what the LSK negotiated that bail moving forward. So using criminal justice to interfere with the freedom of speech and any other freedom that is guaranteed by the Constitution, a very dangerous thing. But the likes of Anthony must come out in open to apologize for Kenyans and many others. I'm just using Anthony example and many others, because these people were presented with options in 2022. They left a very good person, Wajakoya, and voted for this guy. Remember, this guy viciously opposed the 2010 constitution and he campaigned against that. I think Anthony was alive by then. I was in primary school by then, but I think Anthony was somewhere, either as a voter or as just an analyst somewhere. So if by that time the guy campaigned against, but he said that there was some 20%. I do agree. There are certain things in our constitution that we need to strengthen so that we don't entrench this irresponsibility and corruption and abuse of power. So this guy was there. He opposed 2010 constitution. They allowed the duo, that is the Kenyatta and Arab Samoei, to run for the office, the highest office, in fact, just the public office in 2013, against all odds. So we lost the opportunity to implement the 2010 Constitution from the word go. 2013, the act that was done in 2013, allowing this guy to run, that was the end of 2010. So moving forward, we will not get it right until we eradicate or completely overhaul the system and bring new people to implement it because they cannot implement. So you don't expect a man who is against the Constitution. You went ahead, voted for this man, and you expect him to respect that which he was against. That is dishonest of the highest order, and is not his problem. It is the problem of people who put him there, because you put him under knowing very well that he was against the system or the Constitution that is going to use to govern you. So what were you expecting to elect such kind of a person in that office? So Kenyans must rise up and own their mistake publicly, disown, and then we can move forward. On this one, I'm faulting Kenyans for that. Now that is by the way. That is by the way.
Do you think they have owned? They have owned their now they are
No, they have not.
apologizing?
No. They have not done so. Because the way they are doing, they have not owned up their mistake. They are saying that the government is wrong. They have not come openly or publicly to declare that we made a mistake from 2013.
But Justice, allow me here to follow up with academia. Where do you expect all Kenyans to congregate and say we are sorry for voting? But that's what under a bridge. There's so many Kenyans who voted for Ruto who are regretting. So we cannot keep yelling at Kenyans for having made a mistake during past elections. We have to move forward.
No, that is
and if
that
Wamnyoro was
that
the
is,
one
that
on
is,
public apologize.
that is where we got it wrong. No, that's where you get it wrong, because we are blind that we cannot move on unless we understand why we are here. So if you want us to move on because of the circumstances, the current circumstances,
don't you think people
that is
understand?
void.
And if not, can you tell us what
You see, the
you want
problem
the
is,
to do
look,
to show that they have understood?
No, the problem is, Justice, we are busy saying that we want to change. They have not come out in large number to say, look,
they who?
Kenyans who supported the current president, he was voted by over 7 million. So allow these people to come into the open and say, the mistake or the problem you have, we own this problem because you are part of it. So we cannot run away. And therefore, it behooves all of us collectively as a nation now to join, just wait, join hands with those who are against the system that we voted in, because we've now realized the reason why you are against this system, because it's not a new person. And this is the same mistake we are likely to make. Look, today we have Matiang'i as a presidential candidate and all these other people, so we know them. So by 2027, now Matiang'i is voted in, then he does or is doing exactly what he was doing when as a CS of Interior. Will you then blame Kenyans that no, let us leave alone what happened? Now we are with the other problem. So therefore how do we move from this point forward? No, you have to own your problem. And that is history. So we better say that we've made a mistake.
But opinion polls now show that most Kenyans don't like this guy. So why do you keep yelling at Kenyans to own up?
I'm not yelling. No, you are using a very bad word. You don't say I'm yelling.
Okay, forget about yelling. Okay, forget about the word yelling. I'm using current trends to disprove what you're saying.
But let me ask you.
The opinion polls for the government's in the tank. So many Kenyans don't like the current regime. That's akin to saying we did a mistake, now we're trying to change it.
Okay, how authentic is that poll?
Academic.
How authentic is that poll?
Academic.
How authentic is that poll? So
Academic.
what
allow me to
you need? Okay. Let me allow
see
you.
what you're
Why are you
asking.
interjecting? I'm supposed to learn, but you people keep on interjecting. I don't know why.
No, but
Okay.
because as Anthony comes in, there's a one question. I will let you now have a.
You bring any
But,
question
there's
you
a
need, I
question.
need to answer. Bring all of them. I
Yes,
will
yeah,
answer.
you'll answer. But there's a Mujadla's question that I thought if you answered it, you would not even be going back and forth. Where and how you want them to come out and apologize? They're like a forum.
Correct.
Do we want to go to Huru Park?
Fine.
What do we do?
Fine.
Do we write
Let them
articles?
just let them just go on the street the way we have done. That we are rejecting Ruto. But in this case, we say we made a mistake to Kenyans by voting this regime in, knowing very well the person we are voting. So we have owned up, we have realized our mistake. And moving forward, we are not going to repeat the same. That is public apology. That is it. But you see, apology, you must state what you apologize for. But you cannot say Ruto is bad, and then you expect people to say, okay, it is bad, and therefore we cannot go back to the history. That's wrong. You have to apologize for it because you knew this person before. It's not that he had done this just spontaneously. This is a person that people knows is history. So it's not new in this system. So you cannot blame for people who voted for him. You cannot say that these people voted for him unknowingly. They knew the person they were voting for way back. So why don't you just own up your mistake publicly without relying on the opinion poll? Then we move forward. Those are the honesty I want us to do. Anthony, you have a question. I want to learn something.
Now
you have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Justice, thank you for giving me this course because I think that we need to be honest with this thing Academy is trying to say. Academy, I'm going to ask you a question or to clarify this thing in this regard. How many people voted for Ruto Academy?
7.2 million.
Okay, so you want 7.2 million people to go publicly where to apologize?
That's not the point. I'm saying we have gone to the street.
That's what you're saying. So you want 7.3 million people to go to the street and say we're very sorry?
No, I'm not going to answer the way you want. Let me answer the way I understand your question. We have gone to the street to say we don't want Ruto in public. And not every Kenyan have gone Badanso. There are people who saying they don't want Ruto, they have never gone to the public. So you don't expect 7 million of people, 7 million of them to go to the street. They will not even fit in that street. What I'm saying, what we have done, we have gone to the street and said, Ruto must go. In the same manner, allow people who are saying that who have voted, because it is just good to just say, I voted for this guy publicly. I therefore regret. And we are making a declaration today that we voted for this person, knowing his history, and we have apologized for the atrocities that we are undergoing through, for the Kenyans who did not participate in this election. And therefore, moving forward, we are not going to repeat the same mistake. That is public apology.
Wait, Antonio. Let's make order and actually want us to move on. Yeah.
Moving forward now. I'm done with that. Now, that is that by the way. In fact, if you have listened to my submissions, even in the past, I've said whether you voted for Ruto or not, that is now immaterial. Because we cannot change it. So we have to move forward. That does not mean you cannot come and apologize for what you did. No. You have to make that. Now, moving forward is that, Justice, you asked me something. I cannot remember what you asked because I want to deal with it and then land.
No, I think it's the same line. You answered it correctly. That's the same question that was asked again.
Okay, now on the same line. Like now we have been presented with people that we know. So I don't want us to repeat the same mistake come 2027. Then we say, okay, we knew this person, people voted for him. Afterwards, we are now having a problem and we cannot move. We have to be decisive. We have to be honest and tell them forthrightly from the word go that you are not qualified to run for president because of what to say publicly. But when we endorse them publicly, we voted for, then we vote for them. Then later on we come and complain. Then we cannot run away from that mistake. So we are part and parcel of the problem. Now,
All right, thank you.
You see now, Justice, what we need to do. You see, in 2024, we had a breach of parliament. In 2007, there was a problem with the election. These are histories of our country that we need to document and make public and even make them part of the curriculum so that people who are born today can easily read those, what happened in 2017 or in 2007, will read things that happened in 2024 to inform them with how the countries are moved. Those ones will help people understand the political landscape of a country and will help them make very good decisions moving forward. If we cannot rely on those history to make us better our country, then we are born to make many mistakes moving forward. So we better deal with those things moving forward, so that people are aware of where they come from and where they are going. But if you hide them under the carpet, we'll still repeat them, because we are likely even to go back to 2007 if you are not very careful, because we've never learned that lesson. So we need to teach people. They understand the things that people have gone through. That's how people develop their countries. But if you just rely on the current affairs, then we'll not get anywhere. I think that to me is very important in our discourse. Thank you, Jadala.
Yeah, thank you, Academia. I think that the thing that you said there that I want us to move this conversation towards, honestly, I think that if we keep saying that Kenyans have to go publicly and do apologize for voting uni, so let's just be honest about life and move on. I think right now, if you tallied Kenyans right now, if you go to an Uber, you go to a matatu, you go to a restaurant, you go to hotel, every Kenyan, most Kenyans are feeling the pain. So even by just using that anecdotal data, you will realize that many people do not like the presidency, and most people are regretting if they did vote for this, unless they're from that tribe, they're from the UDA, or they're people who are benefiting from the government. That's how we're going to move this. Like for today, as we're having this discussion, that's the baseline. Let's move forward, as in nobody's going to go to the street, 7 million people, and say sorry. So let's just move the discussion forward. Wanda, alafu Tony, alafu tutaendelea. Wanda.
Thank you so much. I'm looking at this, or reacting on doing a presentation in line with if Kenyans have learned their lessons and if they are ready to change this country going forward and how we play our politics or not. I'll pick on this, that you don't punish a son from the mistakes or the sins of their fathers, because doing so will simply mean we'll have a cycle of sins. That this father who sinned, and now you're punishing a son because of the sins of their fathers. Given chance, they will also revenge. Therefore, we'll always have a cycle of sins. But I'm looking at what happened the other day when the mood buses were being launched in town. The buses owned by the son of the president, George. Most of the Gen Zs or most of our youths, I don't know, out of desperation or how we should term this, they were in town celebrating and having fun because of the unveiling or the launching of the mood business of the buses. To me, I look at that as a people who cherish or who are good at celebrating short-term benefits, the short-term handout. I mean, those handouts. A person who is short-sighted, a person who is not angry enough. Though I stand by this, you don't punish a son out of the sins of their fathers, their parents. But I look at the motive behind the launch of that, the mood at the buses or as the business. What was the motive behind? To me, I feel like we have a lot to do. Maybe academia might have presented it a bit different, with an interpretation to mean people should go out and issue a public apology and tell the world that we are sorry, didn't do our assignment well, we voted in a person without doing a serious investigation, and we are now crying. Things are going, west or south instead of how they should. But you look at it keenly, Kenyans are yet to learn, and we have a lot to tell. We have a journey to walk. What you are seeing today is an angry person, not a person who has learned the lesson. I can be angry. I can follow a stranger thinking this stranger is good. Nichapa kiboko nikianza kulia, I come back crying. That does not mean I've learned my lesson that I'll not follow another stranger again. It doesn't mean that. Look at our politics. Then look at how Gachagua became famous. And is actually famous. If today he stands and say, "Hi, cousin," it becomes a public hashtag, "Hi, cousins." If he stands and say one term, we all stand out and say one term. It's so powerful, and chances are, if you're from the mountain region as a politician and you don't walk, you don't walk under his shadows, then it means your political career kama inaisha sasa. But of which you look at it in this sense, or you look at that section of the country, and imagine how they will vote. Will they vote because, will they listen to Gachagua and vote out the current regime because they feel like what Wamnyoro team is promising is the best, or will they vote because one of their own was betrayed, so it is a time to teach someone a lesson? Or will they, will those politicians that will back or that will buy under the DCP as a party, will they be examined before they are voted in, or they will be voted in because they affiliate, they are members of this party that at that time people of that section of the country believes like, or feels like, yes, this is now our house. To me, what I'm seeing and what I'm trying to imagine or foresee that is more likely going to happen, we'll still vote in based on tribes. We'll vote in out of anger. We'll vote in with an imagination that this person betrayed us, not looking into the qualities of these specific leaders that we want. Today, as we front these specific candidates, no one is interested, or probably a few persons are interested to dig deeper into understanding the history of these individuals, learning the patterns, their patterns of doing things, and the probabilities that given chance, they'll still make the same mistakes. Instead, a person will look into, a person will front candidate, either a certain candidate, and imagine this one, given chance, atenda afunge hawa watu. This one, given chance, will be able to defeat so and so. This one has this kind of, his backyard, wakona this number of votes. So if we put this together and put this other together, therefore you realize there is a tribe card still coming in. Let us get so and so in the mix. Let us get the other person in the mix. Let us get Kalonzo in the mix. If Baba remains in that quarter, either his region's votes are not enough to make this guy pass or win the elections. Therefore, it's more of a tribal card, of which once
Mwalimu.
the tribal, yes, sir.
So as you learned, what is it, what exactly have Kenyans learned? That tribalism is bad, I'm gonna figure what is it that they haven't learned according to your submission?
What Kenyans have not learned, and they should learn, they have not learned how to examine a good candidate that should be voted in as a president. Instead, they are only angry, they are only disappointed, but they are yet to learn how to analyze a good leader and vote in a person who is supposed to be a leader. If
Okay,
once
so
they get to that point, sasa pale ndo tutajikuta there is nothing like huyu ana pesa, huyu sijui ni popular ama huyu yupo vipi.
okay, so
Mjadala.
according to you then, answer me these two questions.
Yes,
What
yes.
is your criteria for a good leader, and how do you think we can get the Kenyan populace to that level?
The criteria number one of a good leader, or a person that I consider a good leader, is one that I believe should be, is patriotic enough, and their level of patriotism to me is how empathetic this person is. Do they reason with the common person? Do they feel the challenges that people are feeling? Or they belong to a different world, the class of politicians and the class of leaders in the society? And number two, how we be able to do it now as a people? Let us preach the gospel of making people realize that don't follow this section of our leaders. Don't recycle leaders. Don't imagine that don't imagine that so and so has been betrayed and therefore probably is better. Is better compared to the other person. And equally, don't vote out someone because whoever you want to vote in comes from your region or will bring some benefits to your region.
All right. Asante sana mwalimu, nashukuru sana. And dhidi uka hapo hivyo, ni wewe ni mmoja wa wale ambao wako katika ukumbi wa mjadala. Karibuni sana. Wale ambao wanaingia hapa hivi, we in the justice space. We're here to talk about Kenya politics. Na saizi leo tunajiuliza, are Kenyans better than this? What lessons have we learned and what are we going to institute moving forward? Academia and Wanda believe. Academia kidogo alitumia very crude method. Wanda ameleta perspective ambayo inaeleweka. Academia anaanza watu 7 million waende kusema sorry. KICC haiwezekani. Christina, ulikuwa umetajwa pale mbele na justice. Karibu. Christina, uko pale? Anthony actually nilikuwa nimekutaja. Anthony Samu.
I love what Wanda has spoken. But let me paint a scenario here. So Kenya is a house that is on fire. We are inside that house. So we've all now ran out. And we are looking for another house that we can enter, shelter us from the rain, to shelter us from the night. Now, one house here was built by Rigathi Gachagua called D. Inside that house, there's another house called Wiper, built by Kalonzo. There's another house called the PAP, built by Eugene Wamalwa. LD, People's Liberation Party, Mother Karua. Who else has a party? And everyone else who has a party. Now, when ODM now is in there, good. And now, as we're running away from the house, that is ODM and the Kenya KK. Okay? So that house now we are agreeing it's on fire. But once we go out, together with our children who have told us, come out of this house, it's burning, and we are out now. Because the landlord, this house is ODM, and we are out. The only other houses we can occupy are owned by the parties I have named. Mwalim, we shall have no option but to shelter ourselves in those houses unless we decide to do the work. If we can find some banana leaves, we cut them, some twigs, we cut them, we shelter ourselves and say, can we start building our own house? That is the question that we must ask ourselves. Okay? Instead of saying Rigathi is bad, yes, Rigathi is bad, but he has a house. So when you see people running into his house, it's because they are running away from a very bad place, but they don't have the time to judge because they think, okay, this person, even if they were in this house, they seem to have, they can shelter us for now. If we, the young people, the people who said the millennials and the Gen Zs, unless we take it upon ourselves, and let me remind you, when Raila Odinga was building ODM, he was not 60 years. He built it when he was younger than that. Okay? The only person here who has built a party when he's old is Rigathi Gachagua. So far, he came with a lot and he did his magic and he has a house called CP. Kalonzo Musyoka did not start building Wiper the other day. Ruto did not start building his political machine the other day. As young people, I'll continue preaching. Let's stop saying This person is bad, this person is bad. Yes, they are all bad. You are good. What are we doing? What house are we building? We can identify the problems with all the other houses, but we don't want to take it upon ourselves either to go into a house and start cleaning.
Tony.
As I learned.
No. Actually, I want to ask you a question first before you land, because I want us to string the discussion today. Stack it away all over the place. One thing that Wanda said is that his criteria for leadership is patriotism with empathy and thinking with the people for the people. What do you say to that? But in the context of these houses you're talking about and the actions you're talking about?
So far,
given chance Mjadala, I'll want to provide a quick solution to what is just presenting.
Yes,
do I
go ahead, Tony?
So,
yes,
in those houses, now we are back to where we were. We are looking at the lesser evil. Who has more slightly better qualities than where I'm running away. But I wanted to learn, I'll keep on saying what I took time to study Obama. Obama started his political career with the Democratic Party. Do you know what fight he picked on? He did not go straight to the halls. No. He started by, he saw a building. It was this affordable housing in the US. I'm forgetting what it was called. And he asked the people there, so what's the greatest challenge here? He was told, where the children play, there are people selling drugs, and our houses here have asbestos. That was the entry point for Obama. Now into Maine, that was his entry point. Okay, he said, okay, let's go to the council and ask for them. And he said, I took women and put them in a bus. And that day is when we learned the harsh reality of what they never met the mayor until the TV crew. So I'll go back to this drive that we are to bail out Kenya. It is one of the ways now Kenyans say, here we have young people and old people coming together for a cause. What people need in a fight is a cause. Now, how we shall continue propagating that cause, because the end of one cause is the beginning of another. Once the asbestos were put into that house, Obama simply picked up another cause. And the crowd behind him kept on growing. So I read about they were called the Obama Mamas. We used to make sure he has food and all that. So we will go now. We started convincing churches. He started convincing civil rights groups. And he says, I faced a lot of resistance from civil rights groups. They kept on singing this song, oh, Martin Luther King, oh, this other guy, Malcolm X. And he told them, we can no longer continue singing that song. We must rewrite this thing that we want. That's how we are going to win. So this cause you are seeing here, that is raising money to bail people out. We are giving people something, a blueprint to see that we can come together, raise money for a cause that benefits us. It's us who are on the streets, okay? And we are not just going out bailing out everybody. We are
Tony,
saying,
1 minute, lakini moja hujanijibu.
Mimi siwezi ongelelea watu wabaya. Like, ask me to define the house of Rigathi, the people on the
No. You didn't hear me.
Ask me.
I asked you. I'm trying to string a conversation here because the question was, what can Kenyans do better? What is good leadership? And Wanda said, we've missed the point because we don't know how to choose a good leader. And they said patriotism, thinking for the people is his criteria for good leadership. So I asked you, within the context of all these things you're telling us, can you attach it to this mambo of good leadership?
You said patriotism, and integrity, lack of corruption and accountability. All those good things you are saying, that is what we are showing people a blueprint. That you can trust us with your funds and they'll be accounted for to them. You want transparency, we'll update you on real time on the number of people we fought for. All those things you are fighting for, it doesn't start with the government. It starts when people entrust you with a small thing. And when we are doing this, we learn, I told people we must learn from everyone who has come before us. What questions was Morara being asked? How are you spending your funds? Account to us. That is one thing we started answering. Okay? Show us what you're doing. We had testimonials of parents saying, my kids are not out. We have testimonials of lawyers in court showing people what we are doing. People come and say, you want to bring out a bail out criminal. No. You answer them by saying, bail does not mean he is free. Bail simply means he is out to continue with his life as you, the government, proof that he actually burned, stole, had a bomb. It is your work to prove. Okay? Because we
All right.
presume you innocent. That is what justice is. Okay?
Asante sana. Kaa hapo hapo, usiondoke, usibanduke, kwa sababu tunaendelea kuongea hapa katika mjadala wetu wa leo. Asante sana, nashukuru Anthony. Lakini siku nyingine, kwa sababu watu wameongezeka hapa, next time you get an opportunity, please tell us what it is that unasema we are doing, we're giving a blueprint, kwa sababu watu wengine wako hapa tukianza pale mwanzo. Asanteni sana. Naona Western ameingia hapa. Western, nitakupa wakati, alafu tutaenda kwa wenzetu wa akademia. Western, karibu.
Mjadala, Wanda is correct. I don't have to underscore what Wanda said. We've totally learned nothing from the choices we have made in the past, from the pain we're going through now. Learned nothing, you see, and that's unfortunate, because how could Anthony say regard is a lesser evil? Like how does he define evil in this context? How? Somebody who is in the US and is just preaching ethnic politics and Kikuyu nationalism openly. How is that person be? So if you're a Kamba and regard is the one who is having a political party, where do you belong? Or if you're a Luo, where do you belong? Or if you're a Luya or a Turukana, where do you belong in that person's Kenya? You don't belong, Anthony. Don't take these people for infants. You don't belong. This person's definition of Kenya is ethnic, is tribal. He's a proponent of Kikuyu nationalism. How can you characterize somebody like that as a lesser evil? Oh, because he's good to you.
No, Weston, I don't think you got me right. I don't think
No. In fact, look. First of all, I know you two. You like going neck to neck to each other, and I want us to have a civil discussion, Western and Anthony. So I want to correct this so we move forward. I don't think that Anthony explicitly said that Rigathi is a lesser evil. I think his main thesis was that we talk more about what we're doing and what we're doing at the ground level towards another policy. I think that's what I heard from Anthony, honestly. So, Western, when I unmute, please don't go back at Rigathi is a lesser evil. We're in the level of submission. A good discussion. Asante sana.
No, Mujadala, no. He said, he mentioned these people have got political parties. William Ruto's party is on fire, and he used the analogy of a house.
Okay, so because I was listening,
Okay.
let me tell you what he said. He said this. He said, if we're not careful, we'll have to go back to their bad parties. That's exactly what he said, honestly. And I was here when he was. So he was calling for us to organize.
Mujadala, I still, because Anthony said but, he may be a bad, I don't know, then he said but. That bad cancels what he had said before. He did. I heard him correctly. Mujadala, please. I heard him correctly. Let's even take away Rigathi. Can Kalonzo be used to rewrite Kenya's history to like where we want to go? Can you use Kalonzo? Can you rally behind Kalonzo to get things right in Kenya? No, let's put out this guy. He evokes a lot of emotions. Can you rally behind Natembeya to rewrite Kenya? Can you do that? Or Eugene Wamalwa? You can't. Those people are part of the swamp, the rotten establishment. They've been in power before. Can you rally behind Matiang'i to rewrite Kenya? No, take away. You can't. You cannot.
Let me shut your mic, please.
So, Mujadala, what I'm saying is this: if we will want to get out of William Ruto, if he's talking about a house on fire, whatever that means, to go in a house that is owned by Mother Karua or Natembeya or Kalonzo or Rigathi, you can as well continue with William Ruto. And you see where that will take you. Afterwards, you can figure out. Because it's like you'll be like a dog that has vomited and is eating its own vomit. I can guarantee you, you will not have moved. There's nothing substantive. There's nothing qualitative, transformative those people can bring about as far as our problems are concerned. They are architects of these problems. They never stood up for anything. They never stood up for extrajudicial executions. They never stood up against corruption. They never stood up against tribalism. So how do you expect them to change these things? And They are what they are because of those excesses, aren't they? The money they have, the power they have is courtesy of those things. So how will they overnight change the country to what you want it to be? They will not. So if these are the alternatives you have, I'm kindly, politely advising you to stick with William Ruto. After he's done with this term, you can figure out how to come up with a post-William Ruto political dispensation. But you can know.
Weston, okay, give me a minute. I'll add you one more minute to your submission. But the atmosphere or the thesis or the theme of this discussion has not been about the politics. It's actually been about Kenyans and us in this group. So I'll defend Anthony to my death. He said he's not saying that he's pro Gachagua in this debate. So if he said it before, he did not say it today. We have been discussing today how to move this. In fact, I challenged him that he keeps saying this Obama thing. He needs to go study it and bring us a proposal on how exactly, a written proposal of how he did it. So we move forward. So we've been discussing more about how to galvanize, how to have this culture of new change, to Wanda's point, about moving forward. So to you, Weston, I want to direct your discussion towards these lessons. You came to the mic and said that Wanda was correct. So I want to redirect you in that direction. The politicians will be regurgitating. We know. And so we're beyond that point. Sante, Weston and the like.
No, Mujadala, you can't. These are people who put us in these problems, and they're still around. They have not died. So please don't make an attempt to try and craft Kenya outside of these people, unless you can put them in some container and throw them in the ocean. They're still around. Very influential, have got massive support. They've got resources. So don't even try to write them off. Don't.
But again, I don't think you're understanding me. I think you're listening to me to respond and not to understand me. I'm not saying we're writing them off. Right now, ni kama kitu imefanyika. Wewe umerudi kwako nyumbani na watu wako wa nyumbani, mnaongea jinsi ya kuendelea mbele. Unaelewa? Kuna adui huko nje. Na hatujam write off. Unajua ni very, 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 very bad adui. But we are now in our house as Kenyans, young people, millennials, Gen Z. We're trying to strategize on how to structure this thing we call a movement, or we create a justice space movement, or an Anthony space, or a Western space. All of you are family here. So that's what I'm trying to say, Western. I'm not saying that we write off the politicians that are not influential.
Mujadala, I'm responding to your question, whether we have learned, whether it's your question or not. Have we learned something? Actually, if you look at my explanation, it's a response to that question. Have we learned something from the past? And I'm saying we have not. The names I'm mentioning, Anthony did mention names. He did. Those analogies of houses, he did mention names. He did. I'm not the one who's mentioning these names for the first time. He did mention those names. And I'm saying, going forward, we have to demonstrate that there has been a paradigm shift. It's just about thinking differently from the way we thought before. So, Academia was right when he was putting this question across. If you did vote for William Ruto in 2013, in 2017 twice, and then in 2022, how many times are those? Those are 4 times. That cannot be a mistake. Even in life, if you're to do something like that 4 times, that cannot be a mistake. Those are choices, and they're very deliberate. So Academia is asking, if you did vote for William Ruto, because if you voted for Uhuru Kenyatta, then you are also voting for William Ruto. It was a joint ticket. So if you have not sat and reflected why you made those decisions before, all that you are saying, let us get out of this house, whatever Anthony is calling it, and you haven't come to terms with the decisions, the choices you made, I'm afraid you'll end up with Matiang'i or who is this, Rigadi. You'll end up with those people because you don't know the choices you made before and how the consequences are haunting you now. Mujadala, that's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that you can come up with all sorts of frameworks going forward as far as Kenya is concerned. But our politics is yet to get embedded in institutions and policies and structures. It's still personality centered. That's the fact. It's still personality centered. So if people would say, no, we want not to talk about these politicians, okay, who has institutionalized our politics? And when did that happen? It has not happened to date. We're still very much personality based, personality centered. And these people still have got massive influence. That's why this Gigadi has got a lot of sympathy, despite his history being well known. But we can choose not to talk about it because it's not politically correct to talk about it. But I can guarantee you the consequences will still have to bear them. There will be consequences. Because if he forms this party the way he has formed it, and then he sponsors people for parliamentary, for county assemblies, name it, and people get elected on that political party, he's going to interfere with your life, whether you like it or not. Whether it's in active politics or it's not, he will interfere with your life. Because especially if those people will be beholden to him and will do their bidding, you will bear the consequences. So Mjadala, what I'm saying is this. Don't be scared of naming these people. Don't be scared about it, even as you look forward to solutions. Don't be scared of anticipating problems, because we are notorious for not anticipating problems. We want them to catch us off guard. And then suddenly we want to ask what is happening. We must anticipate problems. If we continue thinking the way we're thinking, actually we will deepen these problems even after 2027. That's what I'm saying, Jadala.
All right.
It's just a cautionary tale as we go forward.
Zidi Kapo Western, of course, you know that you're one of the regulars here and we always appreciate your takes. Lakini nawe pia unanijua. Mimi sifichi kutaja mtu, mimi sijali. Mimi natajaga watu kabisa. So, but I just think that I wanted to correct the narrative that was starting to form there. Unaweza kutaja yoyote unataka, usiseme kwamba nimewagovern in that sense. Anyway, karibuni sana, follow each other, follow the host, follow everybody here so that we have these discussions every single time we have this forum open. Justice Sound.
Yeah, I'm liking the direction that it's taking, and trying to look at the issue of what exactly are we looking for in these leaders. And even as we continue moving this forward, at some point, I would like to see if we have Gen Z running for the by-elections. We have 6, I think, ward reps. We have about 16 ward reps, 6 MPs, 1 senator, and all that with the upcoming by-election. And I'm saying that we have something that is so close that can make us see that, okay, can we pick people of integrity out of that crop of people that are going to run? And based on some of the criteria that people are coming up with, can we make our word be really our deeds? Can we accompany with our deeds so that it doesn't look like we're here doing good? Or are we going to confirm to the powers that be that we are just ex-species people who don't even vote? And then that will become the clarion call for them to say that X doesn't vote. So I want to make sure that even as we start thinking this, that when there's an opportunity, how do we actualize this so that we can show that, yes, we have learned something, and yes, we can demonstrate that the guys on X can mobilize to make this a real vote on the ground. Thank you. Over to you, Mr.
Asante sana. In fact, to that point, ningependa kuita vijana ama kizazi cha Gen Z sana waje hapa juu, kwa sababu watu wengi akina Wanda waliimbia Nyayo nini, hawa ni watu wazee wote ndio wanapiga historia. Kwa hivyo vijana tukakanganye vizazi hapa juu, tuwe na discussions bomba kabisa. Wanda, pole sana nilikuruka ule wakati, ningependa kupa fursa alafu Nyukabel na alafu wafuatie Academia. Asante sana Wanda.
Asante. I would like to present, based on the reaction, a reaction based on the presentations that I've just had. Like, in the name of the solutions that we have at hand, that though we are yet to realize the very solutions. When you go to Zambia, their current president, Hichilema, is a kind of Hichilema, he garnered about 2.8 votes Lungu, who was the sitting president, got about 1.8, a difference of about 1 million votes. So they even didn't need to do a runoff, but you already kupiga. The margin was so big. Now, this is how Hakainde won the elections. The youth got tired of Lungu. They cried of lack of jobs. Life was unbearable. The cost of life, things were not working in Zambia. To them, they looked at Hakainde or Ichilema as a hope or a solution. The history of Zambia, the youths were being pointed a finger at, being told, you guys keeps making noise, but you never go in to vote. You never register as voters, and you never actually vote. And it's the reason why we are struggling and suffering as a country. This is how Hakainde campaigned. He used the power of social media. He used these space meetings. He used the Facebook. He used, generally, Hakainde used the social media, and the youths championed the campaigns of Hakainde. God on his side, Hakainde won the elections. Now, get back to our country. ODM came to birth in 2005 during the vote of the Chungwa, that is the referendum. That was in 2005. In 2007, this party went for elections, to which a number believes that they actually won the elections, but PNU were not ready to accept defeat, and which led now to the bloodshed and eventually the Grand Coalition government.
Okay.
The
Mwalimu,
Gen
can you hear
Zs
me?
have time, or the youth today in Kenya have time to come up with their own political party. It's not that they don't have a solution or an option. We don't need to struggle with any political party as a way of probably an imagination that we don't have a political party. And because we don't have a political party, so let us just join the available options. No. If ODM was formed as a result of the referendum in 2005, and in 2007, it was a very powerful political party to which a number believes they actually won the elections. Today, we are in 2025. Elections are in 2027. What's the difference? To me, it's just the same number of years. Look at the power in these populations. The Gen Zs are believed, or that group of persons are believed to be, by 2027, there will be about 14 or so million persons. A good number of their mothers will back them. Then these guys have they have that chance to control the elections of this country. And if I'm told they'll be politically organized, then they have a chance to win the elections. But now what they're doing, or what we are doing, we are struggling to join other persons or the recycled politicians' parties. To me, that is recycling a problem with an imagination that you're going to get the solutions that we want. You cannot keep on doing the same mistakes and imagine that you are finally getting a solution to the problems that are ailing you. As I land on this, and therefore I land on the fact that let the Gen Zs or the youths come up with their own political party. There are 14 or about 14 million votes will be backed by the mothers. The mothers that are crying today will easily back the Gen Zs. But now let us not hold these our mothers' hands, pull them and drive them into another recycled pit. Then what will we do come 2028, 29? What will we tell them? In this case, they have given us a chance. Like, okay, fine, we have failed you for a number of years. We are ready for you. We are ready. You hold our hands and direct us to this destiny that you feel like we have been failing you. Tutengeneze chama. Let us get persons. Tusifanye kama ile vitu because Morara, or because I don't know kwa mnambatiza mnamuita sijui ni Mboya ama nani. This guy that went to ODM and became one of the youth wing leaders of ODM. Let us not rush to imagine that sasa hivi Wanda akiamka aseme ABC, so you start singing, oh, Wanda tosha, Wanda is the best. Learn to examine and investigate a person before you start singing this person tosha. Come up with a political party. Time is there. We don't need funds. These social medias doesn't need funds to popularize a candidate. This platform doesn't need a lot of funds to do this analysis and investigate who is good and who is not good. Once we get to that point, hatuhitaji mjiza juu utoke wapi udondoke hapa chini ndio tujue huyu sasa tuna uwezo wa kumchakachua fulani, tujue this person is good, sasa twende na yeye. At some point, probably we'll need to push some of our own persons here and tell them, oh no, we want you to vie for ABC and D positions. There are the problem in Kenya is that good leaders are afraid to vie for elective positions. And if we imagine Mjadala is qualified, let us pull this guy and put this person on the table and tell this person, no, the problems that are ailing us, we feel like you stand a chance to solve some of them. We don't need, kama huwa tunachanga pesa haraka haraka mmoja akiwa na shida, then if it is nominations na vitu gani sijui pelekwa IBC, zile pesa ndogo ndogo watahitaji, we are able to do all this for as long as we get the proper list, but we can only start by getting a proper political party that belongs to the youth or the Gen Zs. Numbers are there. The mothers are ready for us to hold their hands, but let us not direct them and guide them to another pit.
Can Wanda hear me? Leo, hebu jaribu kuongea na Wanda. Asante sana.
Mjadala, can I respond in a minute?
Yeah, just give me a second. Let me set the room real quick. Alafu ifanye minute kwa sababu Nyukabela kwa hapa na hajaongea.
Wanda alikuwa anaongea.
You like bantering yourself. Alafu nikikubanda unaanza kulia unatoka kwa stage. Anyway, thank you folks so much. I think that the narrative that is forming so far.
Yeah, okay, it seems like Mjadala, Leon, you can take. I think Mjadala is not.
I can hear you. Can Leon hear me? Can Kadime hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now let me respond quickly. Let me respond quickly. Very fast.
Academia, listen.
Academia tuko kwa laini bwana. Tulia, you are coming after me. Yeah?
Okay, what Mjadala said that he's gonna set kind of perspective, and then Academia will go for 1 minute. Bell has to come in. So yeah, so let's make sure that all of us can follow that, please, so that we continue flowing. We can hear everybody. We're gonna make sure that we are being redirected as we proceed. Good conversation. Share this space. Invite friends and follow each other so that we can deal with this as we move forward. Karibu Mjadala.
Asante. Academy, if you can hear me, just pick 100, but I don't think that that you can hear me. Unanisikia Academy? Nyukabela unanisikia? Piga 100.
Yes, nakusikia.
Okay. Leo hebu ambia Academy basi lazima atateremka ndio arudi kwa sababu kama nisikii ni mbaya. So
Academy nilikuwa nataka umwandikie Mjadala.
Okay, I don't hear Mjadala. I don't know the reason why.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's get you down and then you come back up. I think you can fix your mic that way. Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Okay. Thank you very much. Nyukabel, a narrative that has formed so far to this point is that we have not had patriotic leaders and they've let us down, and the Gen Z umesikia vile Wanda amesema. Nyukabel, please.
Yes. First of all, I think, and I'll be very categorical and very honest here. I don't think Kenyan political parties have ideologies. Our political parties are built around cult personalities. If Raila Odinga, something were to happen to him today, or if today he was to make a new political party, all those people who are with him in ODM will move with him to his new political party. If Kalonzo Musyoka was to move away from his political party and form a new one, all his followers would go there. So none of the political parties we have in Kenya have ideologies. And I will disagree with Wanda on one thing. I don't think young people need a party. Every Kenyan who is of sane mind and is rational should be part of a political party. But the parties that we have, I don't think they represent any of our ideals. They don't represent us. And I say this as somebody who has been a member of ODM until last year when I quit. Yeah. I think we were lying to ourselves a lot that we belong to parties, but I don't think we have parties. We don't have parties. What we have are election vehicles. Right now, you look at UDA. Is it really a party? Probably dead. Probably the president will have a new vehicle in 2027 to try and vie for the election. That being said, to me, I find it very, very interesting that we cry that we want change, that we yearn for change. Yet we are this very, very, very people still fronting folks who've been in power even before some of us were born. We still think that that's where the solution lies. We can't be here and discussing that Kalonzo Musyoka is a solution, that Rigathi Gachagua is a solution, that Fred Matiang'i is a solution, that Eugene Wamalo is a solution. Come on. I mean, are they any different from William Ruto? No. And I agree with what Western was saying. It's like vomiting and then expecting that now that vomit will be delicious. Yeah. So if we want change, we ourselves have to be honest with ourselves. None of these people who have the so-called vehicles or political vehicles that we are angling for, yeah, are the solution to the problems that we want. Yeah? Let me ask you something. If Rigathi Gachagua was not impeached, would he be speaking the same language that he's speaking right now? If Kalonzo Musyoka was co-opted into government and not Raila Odinga, would he be speaking the same language that he's speaking now? No. What we are seeing right now is just the same political class trying to play us like they're playing us. Divide them into two groups, create that narrative that, oh, you can only have two candidates. Yeah, you can only have two candidates, but it's the same of them. And then after the 2027 election, the language will be like, oh, we want to unite Kenya. And then one of them will join the other side. And then we are here again in 2028, 2029, 2030, speaking the same language. My friends, if we want change, we have to speak it. If we want change, we have to look for it and fight for it. Yeah, it's not about going for the low hanging fruits. That ati huyu sio mbaya sana. You know that photo of those two young men with some high hanging kofia. Uhuru sio mbaya, ni wale wamemzunguka. That's the language we are speaking here. One of them is the lesser evil. No, we have better Kenyans who can lead us. Yeah? And round hii hakuna kusema ati there was no alternative. Round hii hakuna kusema that there was no alternative. Look at what they've started doing. They are charging young people and even civil societies with terrorism charges. What makes you think that tomorrow they will not arrest you on terrorism charges? We have to get rid of this whole class. Just has to go home. That is the first step to redeeming ourselves and building better. Yeah. The first thing the political class shenanigans zote. Look at today what happened to the Rigathi team. I'm not in any way supporting them, but I sympathize with them. That you are on your campaign rallies, then suddenly the police block the road. Yeah? I mean, where are we heading to? Yeah? Where are we heading to? So me, I would say this, and this is just my honest opinion. Some may agree with it, some may disagree with it, and I see my phone is almost dying, so let me just finish before it dies. As long as we are still discussing these characters, it means we still have some sort of Stockholm syndrome. Yeah? Yes, they may be influential. Yes, they may have the resources, they may have the power. But now we have a platform where we can talk and we can raise our voices louder and we can make those strides. Maybe we need to start speaking about candidates that actually reflect our values. Maybe we need to start spending time interrogating candidates who offer a different system than what we've had. Maybe that's what we need to be talking about, so that the people who are here, who are probably like, I like Maraga, or I like Omtata, or I like academia, but I don't really know about it. Maybe if we spend our time speaking about those people, then the undecided among us will also start like, okay, I heard this about this candidate, I heard this about this candidate. Maybe I need to make a choice between those two. But if we are here still discussing Raila, still discussing Rigathi, still discussing Kalonzo, sijui Natembea, sijui Matiang'i, my friends, where are we going? Nowhere. Those people are not going to bring any change in this country. And we will be here in 2029 and we will tell you, we told you so. Hakuna change yoyote that is going to come from somebody who has benefited from the system. He just wants to come back and keep the same system so that he can keep enjoying the way he was enjoying. That is the reality. Yeah.
Daktari.
So, yeah. So
Let
I'm
me ask you a
landing.
question. Ni sawa.
Yes,
Nataka
yes,
nikuulize
yes,
swali
yes.
kabla simu yako ishe. So
Uh-huh.
you're saying that maybe we need good leaders in interrogation. So who do you think that leader is, and how can we bring the greater population of Kenyans to this realization that you have?
So and this is why I'm saying maybe what we need to now start discussing is David Maraga has said that he wants to be president. Okiya Omtata has said that he wants to be president. These are two candidates or two Kenyans that we can agree that despite their shortcomings, despite that maybe they have certain weaknesses or vulnerabilities, we can all agree that their history speaks of people who want. Their history speaks of people who, in one way or another, have fought for a better Kenya. If we even start looking at the civil society, huyu Omtata huyu ni mtu amevunjwa hadi meno zote, and we can attest, all of us have seen this on national TV. Amejifunga hata na chain at Parliament building when a bad bill is being passed. Maybe we need to start interrogating, what does he stand for? Maybe we need to spend our time actually talking about those people. Pia hawa kila siku wako tu juu ya magari na hatujui kwanza kazi gani wanafanya, hatujui hizi pesa wanatoa wapi. Yet we spend our days every day Yangi, every day Kalonzo Musyoka, every day Rigathi Gachagua. God, do we really want change, or we are also victims of Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, but we also at the point at where people are looking at the practicality of this. In a second, explain that. What's happening here is that yes, we can bully these people, but earlier when we started this, is I did ask a few people that are really serious, contributors in our space here, that they traveled to their whatever Chicago, and they talked to their parents, and another one actually had put me to talk to grandparent. They were like, "No, Ruto, this one has to go." And then other people were like, "Now we are from Matiang'i because we don't think Maraga can." Now, how do we, when we are here discussing, as Kenyans learned anything, have we shifted enough to build a candidate? Have we built enough to build a new Kabel to run and win? Have we?
Okay. Can I answer you? Yes. You see, we need to get away from this idea of quick fixes. Ati siku moja tumesema Maraga, watu wakisema si hatujui Maraga, we've already given up. My friend, what are we going to do? We are going to end back in the same box where we'll be told that huyu hawezi shinda. A simple case is the case of this Zoran Mamdani, the New York Democratic mayor nominee, who, when he started, people were like, "Oh no, he's a socialist, he's an immigrant, nobody's going to vote for him." He won. He beat Andrew Cuomo, and even Eric Adams, the current New York mayor, who was a Democrat, has now decided to run as independent. And as things stand, it looks like Mamdani is going to be the New York mayor come November. What we need to do is, mimi kama Nyukabel, kama nimeamua that mimi Omtata is my candidate, ama nimeamua Leol is my candidate, is now my mission to make sure that everywhere I go, if I get a chance to speak to people about 2027 is coming, Kenya, we are in a deep mess. Who do we think is going to be a good candidate for us? It's now upon me. Mimi ambaye najiona niko na uadilifu na nimemakinika kisiasa, and I understand what is going on. It's now up to me to speak to my people that I have influence over, not to coerce them to vote the way I want, but to educate them and to talk to them and to understand them so that we walk this journey together. And I'm not saying that ini kazi rahisi, sio kazi rahisi. We may even end up that our salvation is not coming in 2027, but it's coming in 2032 or 2037. Yeah? But ni kazi ambayo lazima tufanye every day. Sio ati we want quick fixes. Mimi nilipiga simu nikaambiwa ati Maraga hawezi shinda, so I've given up. So if you've given up, you're deciding to support Matiang'i, yet we know that Matiang'i abused court orders. We know that Matiang'i was a minister for security and very bad things happened, but we want to sweep that under the carpet. Then come 2028, when we are demonstrating on the streets and police are shooting us, we start again, Matiang'i must go. But we knew this character. Yeah, we knew this character. Yeah, so watch quick fixes. We should stop quick fixes. We must get down on the ground. Na mimi nilijiamulia hata mali niko saizi natoka narudi Kenya in a few months. In my village, in my constituency, in my ward, that candidate that I like, that candidate that I'm going to back, I'm going to take my time to talk to my people, to have a conversation and to tell them this is the way. But ultimately, the choice is theirs. So that after Kura, if they decide to vote another way, and then the problems come, but I will tell them, look, we've been making this mistake again, you've made another mistake. I hope now you are learning. So that next time we are at the ballot, we have to do better. But sio quick fix justice, sio quick fix, sio simu moja, umepiga simu moja ukaambiwa hawezi shinda, you've given up. It's not a quick fix. Yeah? When the Mau Maus were fighting, or even if you look at the quest for independence, it was years. It was years. There was the war in the bush, but there were also boardroom, and there was a lot of compromises. So ndio lazima tufanye kazi. And Wandia Njoya, I agree with her on a number of things. I disagree with her on a number of things. But one thing that she says that sometimes resonates with me, we Kenyans, when it comes especially to politics, we hate that hard work. Yeah? We hate that hard work of interrogating and going deeper. What we want is that quick fix. Oh, and euphoria. Huyu ako na watu. Hapo ndio tunaenda. And then kesho, bei ya unga iko juu, cost of living iko juu, education is collapsing, healthcare is not working properly. We start complaining. Oh, where did we go wrong? And then we start looking for solutions. And we know, huyu jamaa hawezi rudi. Then what do? We give his friend. Then we expect that the friend is going to be different from him. No, it's not going to be different. If we all agree that Uhuru Kenyatta put us in this mess, there is no way that Fred Matiang'i can be a solution, because Fred Matiang'i was a cabinet secretary and in fact coordinator of government activities for 10 years in that government. So there's no way that guy can be a solution. Yeah? So tuseme ukweli, yeah? If William Ruto is a problem right now, there's no way that Rigathi Gachagua can be a solution, because those two are joined at the hip. And Raila Odinga again cannot be a solution, because right now he was part of Uhuru's government, whether we like it or not. He's now part of William Ruto's government, whether we like it or not. So he can't be a solution. Yeah. And Mudavadi cannot be a solution. Exactly.
So Nyuka, then land on this question. How do we bring the Kenyan population to that realization that you have?
It's constant communication and not talking to people in a condescending way. It's about talking to people. What is the Kenya that we want? First, ask people. I talked to some people in my village and asked, what is the kind of life that you want? And they tell you, I'm thinking of a life where I can own a farm, where my kids can go to good school, where healthcare can be accessible, where I don't have to sell my assets when I'm in trouble, and so where I can access cheap cost of credit. Then I tell them, this government and these other characters that you see around who have been around for a long time, there's no way they're going to give you. So we need to start thinking of alternatives. Some of them will tell you, I need to think about it. Others will be like, I've never really seen it that way. So this candidate that you're telling me you're supporting, let me try to find more about it. Pole too, to start changing minds.
All right.
And that is what we have to do. And when we come to spaces like this is my request to those people who host spaces. Let us talk about these new candidates that represent the new Kenya that we want, instead of the characters that have brought us here day in, day night. Naongea tu about these characters. Ni kama tumefungwa na nyororo hapo. Asante.
Asante. Niwaite just kuachia ufanye kazi hapa kidogo ama Leol, but I want you now to Nyuka Bell's point, if you know Maraga or Omtata's number and your friend, tupige hiyo hata nimekasirika sasa. Kwa wale ambao umeingia kwa mic hivi inua mkono, kwa sababu kino kuna dharura nyingine kupata haya kutusikia karibu. Wala nyinyi ambao mmekaa hapa ni sawa, lakini nitampa Tony kuingia sasa hivi. Hebu inua mkono alafu nikuone nipate kukupatia fursa ya kutoa maoni yako. Asanteni sana. Tony, civic education.
Yeah, see, I'll not even mention names because I think it grounds the point. When we talk about we want change, we must give people a slight marking scheme. Okay? And I'll go again to the initiative that we are leading of raising funds to bail those people who are taken to courts, to various courts for that maandamano. Everything people want in this country can be narrowed down to how people process something small. Because if people can trust you and see how you handle small things, then they start trusting you with slighter, bigger things. And that's why I said, Barack Obama, I'll go back to that person. How did he start? Went to his precinct, identified a housing problem, and started by fixing that housing problem. Why? It gave him, one, it gave the people the chance to put Barack under a microscope. You know, how does he communicate? How does he manage stress? How can we trust him with our funds? Can we trust him with our voices? Does he represent our interest or his interest? You know, and it also gave Barack the opportunity to do the same with it. So as young people, because this initiative is driven by young people, it's 100% driven by young people. And what we are doing here is saying that we want to show that we can come together for a common purpose. That is what people will see from this initiative. Okay? We also want to show people that we are accountable when entrusted with a duty in any form. So you trust us with your funds, you trust us to deliver, you trust us to communicate. What else will people get to see is that we have follow through when we start something. Okay? Because it's one thing, and that's what people say. You know, people have been saying, you guys jump from one thing to another thing to another thing. There's no continuity. Okay? And that's why I said, we will start this process, and I will urge everyone to on board on this process. For those who feel they want to get to see how best we can work together. People will come and say, we've trusted you with this process. You've handled it well. There's another process we want to give you. And they'll trust you with more. And the more they go trusting with more, they also trust you with more resources. They also trust you with more responsibilities. Growth starts from a microseme. A small thing. It's like a mustard seed. And that's why I said, unless we take it upon ourselves to start from the bottom, and that is what this opportunity gave me. I'll not even talk about anyone else. It gave me the opportunity to start something and take on something that no one else was undertaking. And we met as a collective of young people. People you don't even know. They don't even talk on space. And we said, we have lawyers here. We have communicators here. Yeah. People who have done communication here. We have people who have done graphics here. And we started a campaign on it. And it went on gaining momentum. In fact, I was amazed when the deputy president spoke about it. He said, I'm seeing some young people here raising money to go and bail people out. At that time when he spoke, we had raised around 795. We had already bailed out 51 people. Today, as I speak, tonight as I speak, we are at one. Let me give you this amount we are at right now. Today, as I speak, we are at 1.18. And tomorrow, we are visiting Thika local and the Naivasha local. Why did we take this initiative? Because we came on spaces and told people to demonstrate. We came on spaces and young people showed up. So when these people showed up and they were arrested, why did we want to just walk away? So wewe juu kushikwa, you want to walk away. You know, and this fight goes on for everyone who has been shot, for everyone who has been amputated. It will go on to say, do you need a leg? Yes. I don't know what those legs are called. Prosthetics. If we shall have funds to buy prosthetics, we might decide this is a cause we want to take. There's this young girl who was killed. What are we saying? The next phase will be every bullet has a serial number, traceable to a gun that is traceable to a police station. And from the police station to, so we want to know, how did the gun leave? How did the bullet leave your gun and end up in a girl seated in the house? Was there a responsibility in the way you're handling your firearm? This is how we fight. And this is how we show people that we can consolidate and we want to bring change. Because it goes ahead now to drive the conversation of police reforms. You know, that's why you hear one day people saying shoot to kill, and the other day they say, no. Let us now say we want to tell police the only when they can use their firearms. It is because government is starting to see that young people are beginning to come together and we cannot distract them. And let me tell you, people, it doesn't matter what anyone will say. We will stop when we are finished this activity. And all Kenyans want to come in and contribute to that fund. You will get updates daily. People who have been released, money that you've contributed, the amount that has been spent. You know? And why did we go this process? We said, even if now people who have contributed, there's an entire database of everyone who has sent money.
Anthony,
That's
where ideas really like unanisikia? Nilikuambia next time like, usianze kutuambia vitu bila kutuambia sisi huko. Hebu anzi kutuambia who is in that group, what do they stand for, do they have some vitu kama so done na watu wengi hapa wenye wameingia wajui hiyo group.
So this group is made of many people. You know, even if I give you their names, you don't know them. I'll tell you there's a lady.
Okay, but tell us like what's the structure, what do you stand for, where can people find you so that they can read your details, vitu kama hizo, utupatie more details than just kusema vitu mmefanya.
Yeah, I've shared our details up there on the Jumbotron, how you can contribute. Me, I work from where I live. I live in Kirinyaga, so I work from Kirinyaga. There are people who live in Nairobi. There are people who are in Mombasa, but we communicate with each other because that is what, you know, that's what we're able to do today with mobile phones. We hold Google meetings and we come and say, what is our agenda today? That's why I've said tomorrow I know we shall be going to Thika and Naivasha because there are people who have raised that they have people there and they want those people to be bailed out. Okay. We have parents who come and say, I have, the bill is 30,000 and I have 10,000. Can you top me up? And we take that process of saying we can top you up the 20,000. Okay. Some of the challenges we faced is that, yes, we can negotiate for a bill. People have come to court, but we don't have a guardian or a parent because a parent or a guardian needs to be there to sign in and say that if this person is being released, they are being released to me. So I'll be responsible for them. Okay. So that's how you join in. You join in by contributing. Okay. And once you contribute, your information is big. Okay. And anyone who joins in, my DM is open. If you feel you want to know how the process is going, if you feel you say, I want to be involved with you in this and this and this, we go making a community. That's how a community becomes a formidable force. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how we move forward together.
All right. And I think the reason I'm asking is not that I'm questioning the formation of the group. I think in this movement is the and this is just only why movement moving forward must have this. So for you, it would to have a website, something that people can read and actually decide for themselves. Yes, even as contribute to the M-Pesa to help bail out comrades who are taken in, which is a good and very noble cause, if you ask me. They know that it's something that's not sponsored by a politician, led by a politician, or these people that we're trying to take out. Everybody, every name that we've mentioned is not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with it. So hapo ndo najaribu kusukuma hiyo angle.
So we are actually in the process of making a website so that people can be able to visit the website and see everything. If there's a web design out there, someone can make a website, please DM me. Now, when you come and say that there are people who, we can't stand and say, you can't contribute. Why? Because you're building a Kenyan movement. Okay. And right now, I'll be very honest with you. One of our lead council is actually a politician. She's a women rep of Kirinyaga.
Yeah, I know Jen had
Yes,
posted
she's
this
actually a
actually early, give
politician.
us the update.
Yes,
I
and
think,
there's a lady
yeah,
called Grace from Law Society of Kenya. Okay. There's
right.
a lady called Nerima doing wonderful at coordinating all this. There's a lady called Nyamisa who's very good at data, collecting data. Okay. There's a lawyer called Melvin who's very good at representing people in court. So there's a community here. There's a lady called Neema who's an expert in
But you see,
communication.
but you see the reason, and again, I want us to move to the next subject. The reason as to why people like Gala will question is that it's a one-off
No,
activity, for example, raise.
no.
No, hang on a second. Let me say this. So is this a one-off activity that is only formed to raise money for the bail for those who are arrested, or an actual organization that has a name called Janala Kenya, and this is what we stand for? Are you saying so? There's a difference because there are times people have come together just for a specific cause. When Asema went through Mandamano, this is what happened. We take care of that. Once that issue is done, you're done. People continue that cause. Or there's a time people want to say, I want to I want to join a certain movement that is doing ABCD and is doing beyond just raising funds. And I think that's probably what will be clear in the coming days. And I think I would probably, unless you have something else to add, once it's clear, share with us and we'll proceed from there. Yeah, appreciate it, Anthony, for always keeping us honest here. Civic Freedoms Forum, I believe you're the one who's coming next. Then we have Ken. It's a lot of Nyangwe, so we have everybody will get a chance to speak. Let's go with Civic. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Would you please be kind enough to confirm if you're able to hear me?
Very well. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. So first of all, let me do a brief introduction of the platform. I represent the Civic Freedoms Forum, which is a national platform for the consolidation of efforts to champion for civic freedom rights. And just back to your question, you'd asked, what are we supposed to do to ensure that people know that we have politicians who are actually up to the task? And my answer would be, have you all forgotten what we did on the 25th of June 2024? That was the power of consolidation and the power of mobilization. We have everything we need for us to ensure that that grandmother who is back at home knows that the only alternative, or rather the best alternative for political landscape is Maraga. Let's make it impossible to be ignored. Sometimes we take for granted the opportunity that we have. Even the fact that we are able to mobilize this space alone and have so many people join us. It's possible. And Morara also showed us an example of what we can do when we unite as a country. For I don't know whatever he turned into, but listen, when he asked for contributions, didn't we give him money to the tune of millions? That shows you that we have the capacity to support our politicians. We don't need handouts anymore. We have everything we need. When our comrades have been arrested, don't we go out there and remove money for them to be released? And that is what Anthony Muridi is talking about. So we have everything we need. Online is the strongest tool we have today. Let's make it impossible to be ignored. We can even create so much buzz for Maraga and Okiya Mtata to come and form a coalition so that they work together, because honestly speaking, that is the best bet we have to do. Now, that aside, I want to also speak on something that's very important that we keep ignoring. Let us also befriend the civil society, the civic society.
But how do we, before you proceed to the second point, how do we translate that movement, that way of come to the how do we mobilize it to be both?
Let's create information. How were we able to mobilize people to come out in the streets and hold government into accountability? We did posters, we did websites. Some of us broke down information. Willie Oeba has been traveling in matatus telling people why Ruto cannot be an alternative why Matiangi cannot be an alternative for government. It's as easy as that. It's as easy as posting on your status every single day.
you have to realize that even from back in the day during the Ramon, the young people have always made the largest population that comes out for political causes, whether it's political rallies coming to the street. We were there. Obviously, it's a little different because now people are mobilizing the X, but then they become the least when it comes to voting. If you look at the thousands of people gathered to listen to politicians, even in the last elections, the young people were the majority. Like they're the ones who come out the most. They're mobilized. So they can mobilize themselves, but they also get mobilized by politicians. They can even come when you are launching your bus as mood. But my question here, walk me through what is significantly different to make it a vote. In this coming by election, 3 months, I want you to give me a vote from the young people and to elect people of integrity.
Okay, I don't know what answer you seek, but what I can tell you to the best of my knowledge, we have another opportunity to make change. And we have seen this. This is not the same thing we've always experienced. This is a totally different team, a totally different political landscape with an opportunity to be heard, not just in the streets making noise, but also in voting. And I don't want to dismiss the question you're asking, but my point is we have an opportunity to try again. And we have seen the possibilities of what can happen. So instead of asking what we can do, let's start with what we have already achieved and see how we are able to convert that into what we don't have already. So what I'm saying is the power of mobilization, we've already tried and tested it.
I agree
So
with you.
let's speak from that.
Continue.
So let's speak from that.
Continue.
So my second point was on befriending the Civic Freedoms Forum and other civil societies. For example, I've said this is a national platform. We have a consolidation of up to 12 membership organizations. We have Defenders Coalition. And what Anthony Murithi is doing is very beautiful. And the fact that they're trying to create a website and all that. You see, one of the great challenges we are facing is that sometimes when you want to reach out to our comrades and even help them settle their bail and all that, because we have funding for that. Defenders Coalition have great funding for that. We have IMLU who also reach out to so many comrades who are arrested. The problem is sometimes we forget ourselves and try to fight for our comrades independently. And then it becomes so easy for the state to reach you. Why are we not using the civic societies to help us reach out to our comrades? So let's not ignore that. It's very easy for government to come and arrest Anthony Murithi tomorrow. And then the best we can do is we can do press statements. Like today, we've done a press statement on Boniface Mwangi, and it has gotten quite a good reaction online. But tomorrow they come for Anthony Murithi, and the best we can do is a press statement about it. The best we can do is a post about it. Why? Because sometimes we forget ourselves and we try and fight the state independently, which becomes very hard for us. We have all the resources as Civic Freedoms, a consolidation of 12 organizations. 12, that's a lot of power. We have KHRC on our back. Every single one of you can be accounted for. If government tries to reach out and arrest you or deny you your rights, but you're not interacting with the platforms, everybody is trying to form everything independently. And then it becomes so hard, first of all, to gain trust. Tomorrow you see somebody did this, somebody did this. And I'm not discrediting all the efforts you're doing. It's very beautiful because when you meet people like Nerima, activist, 001 activist is a very good friend of the Civic Freedoms Forum. So these are people who are very accountable, and there are people who can even refer comrades to us. But it's very painful that we have money
but let me ask you a question on CFA. When was this organization? I'm hearing it for the first time.
You've not heard of the platform?
No, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. When was
This
it
is the
founded?
first time. Okay, so we've existed for 5 years. We've existed for 5 years, and we've been having annual Civic Freedoms Protection Forum Summit. The last one was in Mombasa, and we're having the next one in Nakuru. But my plea is that interact with the platform.
Hang on a
refer
second.
people to us so that we are able
platform.
to. Thank you. So that we are able to help
can
people.
you hear me? Oh, did I lose?
Yes,
Can-
I can.
Okay. So then, and you said you're like an umbrella body of different civic society organizations.
Yes, exactly.
You're an umbrella body. Okay.
Yes.
How do you then ensure there's no duplication of what is being done by one organization done? And now I'm sure Kenyans being Kenyans, they are going to register a lot of organizations. I can tell you that because I've been around for a second to notice that rearing quails, everybody's gonna have a quail business. So how are you ensuring that this consolidation does not come to a point where people are so divided, each person is having their own thing, and then becomes a duplication of the effort?
Actually, thank you for that question. The whole point of CFF was to consolidate. And that's why you realize, like I've said, we have Muhuri, we have Article 19, we have Defenders, we have KHRC. All these are organizations that are well known. You know very well the work that KHRC does, and every other person, Defenders also as part of it. So the whole point of Civic Freedoms Forum is to ensure that you come to the platform so that it becomes easy to consolidate effort. And by the way, I can't really help you on duplication of platforms and all that. But what we know is that we are a reliable platform because we have members of the platform who are signed to us. And they're also, like, you can check our statements, the ones that we've done recently. All our platforms, all our members have to sign the statement before it goes out. So we have credible partners who are working with you already on the ground. But the best thing for us is that if you're not able to reach KHRC, you can reach to us and then we link you up with KHRC. We link you up with Defenders Coalition. We link you up
Civic.
with every other person. So we become accountability. Yes.
Proceed, Mjadala.
Sorry, I
What's
lost
your
you.
name? I think.
Sorry,
Great.
I lost you.
Hear me. What's your
We're
name?
having a slight. Yeah, Mjadala, your net is kind of.
Okay.
Oh, now you. No, okay, when you tend to say okay,
Okay. Can you hear me, Civic?
now we can hear you.
What about Civic? Civic speaking and Darudi. Oh, you can hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's your name? Just your first name is fine. I don't think
I
you
can hear
me.
you.
Oh, what's your name?
I can hear you.
Right. Who the man is?
Nakuuliza,
The
what's your
platform,
name? What's your name? Your name.
the
Your
platform,
name.
my name,
Yeah.
No.
Derek Wesley.
Wesley. Thank you.
Yes, Wesley.
The reason I'm asking is I want you to actually take this opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to give the people that were here, tuko ngapi hapa kama 90 kitu ama 87. If you 87 people can follow Civic free, because this is the kind of thing that we're really looking. Tusishinde hapa tunajiuliza that what can we do mpaka siku gani. So right now, can you please follow Civic Freedom Saizi, so that we can start doing the consolidation that we're actually speaking about. If we want to create a situation where the government gets to listen to us and we liberate people who have been taken to court unjustly, then this is the kind of thing we're looking for. So if you will, please, if you can follow the handle Civic Freedom, and then Civic Freedom, Wesley, mkona website?
Yes, we have a website.
Bas, saizi weka pale kwa chat. We have to be about action. Hatuwezi kusema hypotheticals mpaka kesho. So weka hiyo website hapo kwa chat, watu waende wajisome sahi tukipiga story, kwa sababu hii ndo lazima tuchukue hii direction mkondo. And it's fantastic what you're saying, Civic, because we want consolidation. Isikuwe kwamba Justice ako hapa anajaribu kufanya kitu, Western ako pale anataka kufanya kitu, Samira ako pale anataka kufanya kitu. Haiwezi. Lazima tuende hivi na njia moja. So Civic, I want you to again go back to telling us, you told us what the name of the foundation is or the organization is, what are your goals or your mission, and how can people tap in?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mjadala. I'm sharing all the information you need on this chat, and you're able to follow us. For more information, you can also check us on our website. But basically, our work is to consolidate, to ensure that all of us are enjoying the civic freedoms right that the government owes you. And the best thing we do is that we are able to link you up with all these other platforms. Sorry, all these member organizations. We have Muhuri, which works in Mombasa. We have Defenders. And the good thing is that we have covered all the country. We are everywhere. You're unable to miss out on us. So the best thing, for example, if you're arrested and you're unable to reach out to Defenders Coalition independently, because sometimes even Defenders is afraid, like somebody mentioned, I believe it was Anthony, that if you want to process bail for somebody, you have to offer an alternative, somebody who is going to ensure that this person appears in court when they are needed at all times. But if you refer a comrade to us and we do an assessment and ensure that this comrade is a reliable person, then we are able to stand in for them. And so Defenders, if we refer somebody to Defenders will trust more than they will trust you as an individual. Because some of these people, it is true, you pay bail for them and then they disappear. And see. So the best thing we are doing right now is consolidation. And I'll also urge you to join us in Nakuru. We'll be having a summit which happens annually. We are just trying to see the state of the nation, try and find alternatives. Because trust me, as the communications head for the Civic Freedoms Forum, it's very stressful doing press statements. It's time we go to the ground and do actionable points. Because press statements don't even get to the police. Sometimes a police officer shoots a person, and then the best thing you can do is do a press statement and speak so bitterly about it on a press statement. But do you think this police officer reads the press statements? No, they don't. They don't do that. But if you're able to all come out and speak as a platform, that's why we are saying every single time we are consolidating, we are able to represent all your voices so that we don't just do press statements. We can come out and mobilize and speak on one thing, do pressers. If we are 50 people, 60 people calling Citizen TV to come and hear from us, they will, because that then becomes a newsworthy. So we are going beyond press statements. We are coming to the ground to link up with every single one person. And we are not even allowed to speak politically. But my problem is, there is a problem in how then can young people come out?
Asante.
Thank you so much,
I
Mjadala.
wanted to just clarify that. So if you could just put your details, pale kwa nini, we'll hang them now, or you can by yourself. Please do that, and then I think you just lose next. Asante.
Thank you so much. I will.
Very nicely done. Thanks, Jalla, for that intervention. That clarified. Follow you and also go to the website, get a little bit of highlights. Very good job. Thank you for being part of our conversation today. I think that's how we continue going. Let's go to Ken. I believe it's Ken Nyangweso. Let's go to Ken. I believe after that 001 and then Kimani. That order.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to also add my voice to this discourse. I have about two things to say, and maybe a response to something I heard before. On a point of candidates in 2027, and I heard someone say they tried to speak to their family, I think, to ask about Maraga, the candidate of Maraga, and they were told they don't know the person. Well, that may be the case, but I find it to be a very defeatist argument to dismiss a candidate based on what our parents or the people back in the villages who don't have much access to information are saying. Because, for example, my grandmother is just about 70 years, never went to school, she doesn't know how to read and write. And so she's not on the internet, she's voted Raila all her life. So if today I was to listen to her about who they're going to vote and they tell me they're likely to vote Matiang'i because Matiang'i is more famous than Maraga, and then I pick that up as an argument to make, then I think I have failed, because it's my duty to let my grandmother know that Matiang'i is not the right candidate to take Kenya forward, and to explain to her. Of course, I might not fully convince her, but it's my duty to make her know why Matiang'i is not a candidate. But if I also carry that argument, then also change my mind and decide to vote the person maybe who perception shows is likely to win, then I think you're not doing any service to this movement and to the country at large. It reduces our effort to only what has been happening before the two horse races, where you vote on the person you think is the lesser devil. I think that has been happening a lot. I remember in the last election, Ruto received votes based on sympathy, and you can go back and back and back and get some ridiculous reasons why we have voted certain candidates. So I think it zeroes down to us. It narrows down to us, the people, especially the young people. The people who have been very active in the last year or so, trying to advocate for the new Kenya. It's for us to really carry this message because we know who these common guys are. And I think someone has said, let us also not spend a lot of our time talking about these guys. Instead, let us spend more time preaching the candidature, either Maraga or Tata, because these are the people we know. And at least at this point, no one
Let
is
me
able
let me
to.
ask you a question on that.
Yes,
So then, what happens when we have a group of people here who are for Ruto and others are for Maraga, others are for Gashawa, others are for Kalonzo? Because what I think I want us to be also tolerant about is that in this group we actually have people who are really uh, fully in support of even the current regime and in support of the previous regime and all that. So the voices that we are hearing is more trying to tell us where the country is, as opposed to us in our spaces thinking that everybody is for just the candidates that we are fronting. What do you make of that?
I honestly don't know what you mean. What happened? Because if anyone has observed the direction our country has taken in the past 1 year, and they still support.
What I mean, what do we do is that we stop them from
Yeah, we I don't how exactly we stop them. I don't know, but they are part of the people who need civic education, in my opinion, because I can't comprehend how you still support this regime. And I know there are people who still support this regime. And it bothers me because some of them are people who, by all metrics, people who are learned, who understand what is happening. But I think some of them exactly know exactly what they're doing, and they are deliberately supporting the regime. Some of those people, I think it's better we ignore them. Some of them have, I may have time for the group that is supporting this guy called, who is it? This guy who preaches a lot of tribal message, like Kashagwa. Yeah, yeah, that guy. Because it's also not easy to have a complete shift of our politics in a period of 2 years. It's not very easy if you're being realistic. But I think for any right thinking Kenyan, anyone who wants this country to move forward, I think it's in our best interest to preach the gospel of either Maraga or Mtata, because where we are, and I was going to speak on the other point about how we come up with the right candidate. The biggest mistake we have been making is falling on the rhetoric of what this person is going to do for us. And then that then blinds us on doing some background checks on who this person is as a person. For example, in the last election, this Ruto guy crafted the hustler narrative. And then that really sold to the masses of young people who felt disenfranchised from the economy. So what happened then? ignored the very dark history of William Ruto, and we were willing to forgive any wrongdoings he did based on that message of hustler and forming a government that is going to support that person who is at the lowest of the economic pyramid. So what we must do, and I think what we have done well by coming up with Maraga and the Fear of Tata, is we have looked at their history and what they are as a people, as a person. For example, Mtata, this guy, according to me, is the right candidate because he goes way back. And he has been on the side of the people fighting battles, and he doesn't even ask for recognition for it. He just does what he has to do. And he doesn't take it the microphone or whatever to start preaching and telling people I have done this, I have done the other. He just does it and keeps quiet about it. And also when you listen to him, there's an understanding. You get this image of a person who understands what should be done. For example, he's been talking about how to curb corruption and how to ensure that the budget is adhered to. And when you listen to the argument he makes about separating treasury with the Ministry of Finance, so that every development project is budgeted rather than the president making declarations, that really shows you a person who understands what he's talking about. So I think we should first do analysis of this person, their character, their history, what have they done in the public spaces, in the offices they have held before. And then we can now move on to their manifesto. And on the manifestos, I can tell you, everyone is going to have a beautiful manifesto. I tried to look at the Ruto's manifesto, and it was really interesting. But then the manifesto cannot implement itself. The manifesto is just as good as the person who is going to implement.
1
Yeah.
minute, you can land it.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I wanted to make that point and just stress it. It is upon us to want a better country, not to look at not to be reduced to that politics of two-horse races, but to preach the message of the candidates we think are good. And then we can it will be up to people. And then also you can sleep at night knowing you made the right choices. But falling on that narrative of two-horse races, when you vote in Matiang'i, someone who has been declared, the court almost said he cannot hold public office, and then you support that because he is more popular or famous, then unfortunately you're making the same mistake. So yeah,
Thank you, young boys. Thank you very much for sharing that. I really want to encourage us. 001 comes in. I want to encourage ladies, if you're here, please come into the mic. But also, Jada, if you get time, come back to co-hosting, because when I started hosting, sauti yangu imefukuza watu ambao wameenda kuwatch interview ya baba. But anyway, so 001, there's something I keep hearing from some people, including Kenyan, saying that we have decided our candidate. So who is this we? Nobody has ever answered. I've asked that one actually for almost 3 weeks, and nobody's answering me because I've met young people who are for different candidates. Others are for Omtata, others are for what? So when we say we have decided on this, what this
Thank you so much, Justice, and Justice Mjadala, Leo, and the rest who are in the panels. I'll be brief, and I'll start by saying that I'll talk about the civic space. You know, the civic space, when we were growing up, we were made to believe that civic space only belongs to the human rights actors, those who are in the civic space. But in the reality, the civic space belongs to everyone because it's a collective voices, the collective voices from every citizen. So I want to believe that all of us, we are concerned citizens, or we are concerned about what is happening in our country, and also we are concerned about the change we want. Secondly, I'll say that a weak candidate is can be built by strong voters. So even those people who are saying that we have weak candidates, I cannot even manage to mobilize 2,000 people in a rally. Those are the people who still believe that we cannot bring change, which we have been fighting for. Then another thing is about the issues of these presidential aspirants. I'm aware that people have been talking about this guy from Kisi. I don't know, the former interior CS. I've forgotten his name. That guy. And then people are talking also about Wanyoro, Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, the rest. There are so many. And on this other side of those people who have been championing for the democracy, the rule of law, and also the economic freedom of our country, maybe I can see they are championing for the candidature of Okiya Mtata and Maraga. What I can say, and to answer your question, Mr. Justice, is who are these we? And to answer you is, we are these people who started a revolution, or economic revolution, on June 25th. Economic revolution, when it was started on three major pillars. One, to revive the economy of Kenya. Two, to end corruption or to fight corruption. Three is to have good governance, transparency, and accountable leadership. So we are these people who still believe and champion these three principles. And I will talk about the person, an individual versus the qualities of an aspirant. You see, during the campaign, majority of the aspirants they hide themselves within the qualities. At the end of the day, we get nothing. So I can say that let us just lead by the principles. And I will be emphasizing on the principles because you have seen what has happened. Morara was not that bad. This other suit guy, he was not that bad. But because they lacked principles of economic revolution, that's why they betrayed the cause. So I will be really emphasizing and pushing about the principles. What's your principle as justice? What is your principle as 001 activist? What's your principle as Mjadala? Because at the end of the day, don't be surprised. Even these people, the big wigs you are relying on, they will betray you because they don't have that principle we are championing for. So as I land, I want to say this, and I want to request that let us go down on our grassroots, at our grassroots level. Let us champion the rule of law. Let us champion democracy and to fight corruption and other things which we are having in our country. And to say this, before I forget, Pole Sana Justice, 1 minute too. We also need a presidential candidate who is very fearless. And I've been saying this. The problem we are having in our country, despite the leaders are not respecting the rule of law and the Constitution 2010 of Kenya, but the major challenge we are facing as Kenyans, because all these things, it starts and it ends by the odious debt. And this is what I've been talking about, and Okiya Mtata has been championing about this. Even today, if you put Maraga there, and Maraga does not fight the odious debt, how will we lead Kenya? We have a country whereby we are having a budget of 4 point something trillion. Yet whatever we can collect through the KRA, it is around 2 point something trillion. And I can say, confidently say that all the money we collect through the KRA, it goes to people's pocket, and the rest of the percentage goes to pay the debt. And this debt, it did not go to Shamir's pocket, to Justice pocket, and even Evans' pocket. So what we are saying is we want someone who is going to be bold enough to defend the Constitution up to the core, and also to jail these people, not as an individual capacity, but according to the Constitution. Because no matter what, we have to regain back over 7 trillion, which people took into their pocket. Thank you so much, Mr. Justice. And also, those people who are from Mombasa, don't hesitate to follow me, so that we are planning very major civic education across all the 6 sub-counties in Mombasa, starting from Changamwe, Nyali, Kisauni, Likoni, Mvita, and Jomvu. And I request all of us, let's follow one another so that we gain together. Thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for the great work you guys are doing. Continue educating. And forward, I'll probably go to Kimani, and then we start closing, hopefully in the next few minutes, and then we can probably land. So, Kimani, karibu sana. Thanks for being our speaker.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. As you, my name is Kimani for Kimani, that is, but now.
Oh, Kimani.
But anyway,
so
that's
the
what I've written.
pronunciation.
I've just written something
Okay,
different.
got it.
I just wanted to make it
Sorry,
clear. No worries at all.
freshen up.
You are right. You're right. No worries. So I just want to probably echo and maybe give my views to what most of us have spoken about, largely in the context of 2027, and also in the context of the leadership we want. And I'll start by saying this. In matters presidency, we cannot do a try and error. Someone asked why we have now started mentioning names like Maraga, like Umtata. It's because we cannot do a try and error when it comes to, especially when we're talking about 2020. And this is because we know what Ruto did. Ruto got us into a kind of euphoric campaign of hustler, and to be honest, he won our hearts. But borrowing from what he did, Ruto started campaigning barely a year after the second term. So, and truth being told, he won our hearts. He kept the name Ruto running for the next 4 years, and by the 5th year, there was nothing else that most of us Kenyans, not everyone, but most of the Kenyans would have. None of them would have even remembered that he was an ICC. So why are we saying, or why are we now starting to mention Maraga, Tata here? First is because among the candidates who have fronted their ambitions, these are 2 candidates. For the first time in the history of the Republic of Kenya, a candidate who no one can tangibly give evidence that this candidate has been involved in corruption, because corruption is the biggest, is the worst enemy right now that we have in Kenya. No one, even with those who are opposing them, because they are right. It's the right of everyone to front their candidates. No one has brought anything, and I would want to see even something online of a corruption scandal that Maraga, despite being head of judiciary for almost 5 years, and even the other guy Omtata, who is unknown, major landmark cases have been won courtesy of his advocacy. So maybe this is what we are calling testing. These are guys who have been tested, These are about guys who are corruption free and champions of the rule of law. What else as Kenyans do we want? What else as Kenyans do we want? Secondly, someone mentioned that these candidates, they are not popular. Matiang'i would be fronted because he's popular. And I would echo one of us here who gave a very good example. Think about the Gen Z protest. For the first time, young people who have been used for the longest time to champion tribalism, for the first time, youths of the Republic of Kenya went out with no one caring that this is a Kisii, this is a Luo, this is a Luya, this is a Kalenjin. Almost all the counties, including even the counties where the president is coming from, went out to the streets to demand good governance. Those are the votes. That is the population that we are talking about right now. There's an overhaul of what has been the status quo for the longest time. People are no longer sycophants of politicians, especially I'm talking
Kimani,
about, yes.
are you sure there's an overhaul? Maybe there's an attempt to overhaul. Lakini kusema kwamba there is an overhaul, hiyo ni overstatement.
Well, I would say in the context of the youths of this country, I would say in that context, because let's be honest here. Go ingia online. Out of even the comments from different posts, look at any comment that is saying Ruto Kumi. You'll get one in 100.
The problem,
Simply one.
The problem, Kimani, is the following. You're sampling from a population, Twitter space, population of people who mostly are critical thinkers here on earth. Ama wanaenda tu na trend. Ukienda kwa grau wenduko hivyo kwa utoendesha pikipiki na iko mashinani, wengi wao bado wako very very much. Hey, this is just the truth that you also have to accept.
I would tell you, while I agree with there are some, but I will tell you, everywhere you go, watu wanasema unaona venye Ruto amefanya. Hii economy ya Ruto, unaniambia nifanye hivi, hii economy ya Ruto. Everyone is complaining about what Ruto has done for this country.
Okay, so the distinction that I want you to be clear about is that you said there's an overhaul of the feeling, but I'm telling you, there's no overhaul disconnect between the people and the politicians who are in place right now. There's no overhaul. There's an attempt to overhaul it, but there's no overhaul.
Let's say we are getting there, and maybe that's why we are here in spaces like this. We want to attempt to overhaul this, but in the context of a lot of youths in this country, we are starting to reinvent how we think about politics and starting to look at reality in a different way. And we're now starting to accept that we cannot be following politicians based on how they shout, how eloquent they are, and how euphoric euphoria they create in us, So finally, before I finish, so someone asks, so now, and just exactly to what you alluded to, how there are so many people out there who probably are not in this kind of thinking that we are, and again, how can we translate this into votes? And I want to give my my suggestion, and with examples. One, who doesn't know about one term right now? Who doesn't know about risasi kwa mguu right now? It's almost even someone in Turkana knows about one term. Hata mtu mwenye ana TV uko, because it has been put out there. People have created content about it. It is the talk of the streets right now. That is the same way we are going to champion things like, for example, voter registration. We need to start making voter registration. You create the euphoria of voter registration. Just make sure hata kwanganya utaingia bila voters card. Let's make sure hata utaongea hata kwa space kama hii, unless you make sure we verify you have a voters card. Let's make it illegal in a social, in the kind of a social aspect, illegal not to have a voters card. Let's make sure that it's a pride It's pride as a Kenyan youth to have a voter's card. And the same way one time has been preached, the same way Risasi kwa Mguu has been preached, the same way the Gen Z protest was preached and everyone was for it. That's the same way we can preach voter registration. And even now with with most of the youths having voters card, then we can replicate that into voting. It is possible. It is possible to make sure that we change our political future come 2027. Things are different from we cannot compare this election with the Kibaki time or with even the first term of Ruto and Uhuru. Right now, the internet has changed everything. The fact that we can hold a space like this, the fact that almost everyone now has a smartphone. When Uhuru was the first time of Uhuru, I don't think very few young people had smartphones. Right now, internet was. Remember, it was the time. Those were the times where you put five shilling bundle, 10 shilling bundle. It's no longer that time anymore. This is we have tools on our hands. We can preach this gospel, and I am sure, with no doubt, that this will not be an election like any other. We are going to
Asante.
change our political space. Thank you so much.
What I want to agree with you is that it's a different Kenya, but hii kusema kwamba young people didn't have phones hapa juzi tu Uhuru time, hai sema walikuwa wadogo, walikuwa bado teenagers,
Walikuwa
lakini
wadogo. That's what came to my mind. Like, you're probably young. And
Well,
then just as you come
wengi
in,
hawakuwa na access ya internet then. We have to agree that things have
jiongele
changed.
baba, kama bado
Things
ulikuwa
have
nasari,
changed.
wengine wetu tulikuwa sari tu kuna simu.
but just as you come in, because I want to come in to get us to the closing.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, Imani, that in my previous life, I used to be, used to be a preacher, and then I also been a youth leader before. Wacha nikwambie, this youth problem is a youth problem globally. It's not that they don't vote, they don't want to go to church, they don't even want to marry. These are youth problem that they don't want to do anything. Is that we call traditional way. Yes, I would want to see a revolution starting with Kenya in 2027 or whatever, even in the by-election. But I can tell you, we have another bigger problem to deal with when we stop talking about the young people, because they don't want to participate, even in employment. I'm sorry that now we are dealing with a challenge that we don't have jobs, but we have cases where even those that are being offered work to do, they don't want to do it. So there's another bigger problem that we need to address in the coming days, that we need to realize that some of us who have observed the patterns closely, we can tell you that there's work to be done. And I appreciate that it's being done.
Ndio, asante sana. I want to first of all give flowers to people who have been here a long time. And if you've noticed, we're going towards the end, but anyway, all the people that were here have gone to an exciting space where there's a lot of politicians. So what Kenya are liars, man. Tulikuwa hapo tusifuate wa politicians. Space ya politicians imejaa sijui nani wa ODM, watu wamekimbia huko sasa. Anyway, that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. I want to thank you all for the debate that we've had here. It's really been fruitful in very many ways. One thing I like is that we had Civic and we had Anthony here, and all of those people have structures and things that they're doing already. And those things are good for us. So I want to mention some names that I saw here since the start. I see female activists, I think. Female Kenyan amekuwa hapa. Malaika pia amekuwa hapa. Baba Jackie pia amekuwa hapa na Rendry. Hao watu wamekuwa hapa long time. Kadosh, mtu wangu. Ruda pia amekuwa hapa long time. Nikki, hao ni watu wamekuwa hapa. Malia pia amekuwa hapa good time. Woda Lego pia amekuwa hapa long time. Magnum pia nimemwona hapa mara kadhaa. Ivory, hao ni watu nimeona hapa tangu a long time ago. And I want to thank you all because isipokuwa nyinyi hatungekuwa na space ya kushika vile imeshika hivyo. Na jambo kubwa hapa ni kusema kwamba what we're doing is good. Joe Wagashiko, my good friend, and we need to drink tea soon. Wagashiko, hebu ni inbox, hebu let me inbox you real quick. We need to drink tea. What I'm trying to say here is that it has been a very fruitful discussion, a very good discussion, and I like the actionable points that actually we've done here in the space, like following civic space, ile ya consolidate our ways of thinking, because I don't think that's the direction. And I like that this space is not all about venting and kulialia na kusema vile kina Raila ni wabaya. We already know that. What are some things that we can do and structure ourselves to move forward? And I agree with Kimani that Kenya has changed and it's an awakening that's happening across the region. Perhaps one of the stories that we're going to talk about here soon, and it's come up by Kimani and Justice there, is this issue of youth and how can we actually change youth votes into youth numbers into actually mtu kutembea. Hata hii registration yenye Kimani anasema haijalishi kama mtu akona kipande ya voting lakini haendi kuvote. How can we make sure that mtu atoke kwa nyumba yake physically aingie kwa Uber ama atembee ama aende vile anaendaga na baiskeli whatever, lakini aende kwa polling station yake apige kura. That is the conundrum here. Relatedly, we have to talk about youth employment. That's a big thing that we have to talk about, and it's related to elections, whether you like it or not. Because unaona kama, for example, people have been using this story of mood. Yes, mood watu wenye walienda pale wengi wao, in fact, I don't even care about. Ni watu wako idle. Honestly, I'll be very honest. Watu wanatumia wanasoma so much politics in the days hakuna. It's just a lot of young people excited. It's Friday night. Hakuna kitu ya kufanya, free DJ, free merchandise wakaenda. But what does that have to do with voting? If all these people, George had some money, wapatie, anawambia bana hii kitu ni tutam. Wow, people are excitable. Wanaenda wapige baba yake kura tena. So this is why I'm saying it's very important that even as we talking about this discussion, we start framing and even talking about how can we think even at the mashinani level, how we're going to help our brothers and sisters at the home level, or community level. Justice Abu, please accept Ruda. I think I'm a couple long time, but I'm a good insight za kumalizia. And then also, how can we make sure that the county and national government are adhering to this thing of giving the youth economic empowerment. So here's how we're going to close. We're going to give 001 an opportunity, aseme yake ya mwisho, Kimani aseme yake ya mwisho, Leol, and then host atatufungia. 001, please. Alafu Ruda pia nikimwaccept hapa atasema kitu. Karibu 001.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much Mjadala. Sina mengi ya kusema, yangu ni kusisitizia vijana wenzangu ya kwamba sisi tueneze injili ya watu vijana kuchukua kura, na pia to hold our principles very high, because tusipofanya hivyo hata wazazi wetu watatuambia ya kwamba hii vita ambayo tulianzisha hatukujua njia ya kuimaliza. So let us continue with the journey and let's put our principles very high than how these other people take us for. Thank you so much.
Asante sana 001, na niongezee pale kwamba sio kuchukua kitambulisho peke yake bali pia kupiga kura. Kuchukua ID ama voters registration card, but pia kupiga kura. Sio kuchukua tu, unaweza kuchukua lakini huwezi kufanya chochote. Kwa hivyo kuchukua na kupiga kura. That has to be the movement. You cannot say register peke yake. Register and vote. It has to be register and vote. The call has to be register and vote. Kimani, yako ya mwisho.
Yangu ya mwisho is just to say that it's time we as the youth, as someone said, start discussing about our potential candidate and start fronting them from our local clubs, local bases, to even our parents. And I'm sure that we are going to make a change in this country. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. If you are close to Omtata or Maraga, because these are the two names that even in this discussion have come up as the most debt-free. If you're close to them, to your point, Kimani, not you precisely, Kimani, but anybody who's listening to my voice, the 60-something of you in this group right now, please tell them to contact Justice. Hebu patini Justice contact vile na wanaweza kupatwa, kwa sababu tunataka kuleta hapa, nataka kama tupatie 45 minutes every week ama every 2 weeks. That's the discussion that everybody's trying. So Justice, let's use our networks. Everybody that's in this group, if you have that connection, connect na Justice. Just kuna blue tick, unaweza kuminbox ukitaka. Umpatie connection ya PA ama some grassroots mobilizer tuleta watu hapo tupate every 5 minutes to fish on Kimani's point. Ruda, umekuwa hapa a long time. Unataka kupatia usajili kupatia more than just 1 minute ufunge alafu.
Pia mimi nataka kuwashukuru. Tumekuwa hapa kutoka mwanzo mpaka sasa mahali tumefika. Na yote yenye tumezungumza ni mambo ya kujenga. Leo kabisa tumepata kuongea mjadala ambao ni tofauti kabisa na zile tunapanga nazo pale mwanzoni za kupiga, unakasirika, unaongea venye watu ni wabaya, sijui nini. Lakini today we have taken a very different perspective, which is really building. Now, the complaint about the youth is not that they don't want to vote. It's not that we don't want to vote. But unapata, are we involved? That is the main thing. If you involve the youth from now, kwa njia yenye tunatembea, first we start by defining our vision. What is the core value? What is it that we stand for? Then we focus on key issues which are affecting us, like the healthcare, employment, corruption, security. Then we go to the second thing, understand how elections work. Check the demographic, check the past result of the people, like now we're discussing about the Maraga and Omtata. When we do that, then we can start building strong grounds for changing this country. Grassroots mobilization. Na tuseme grassroots mobilization ni mashinani. By the way, watu wa mashinani wako na akili hata kushinda sisi watu wenye tunaishi hapa urban areas. Like now, how can you vote? Unaweza ambia mtu aje amevotia Omutata kwa seneta wake, alafu we mtu wa Nairobi unavotia Alai kwa sijui ni MCA wake. Unaona? Alafu unasema alafu unasema we mtu wa town uko na akili kushinda mtu wa mashambani. You are lying to yourself. Those people are really knowledgeable. They know, my mother knows where the economy is right now. Haya, alafu in building strong grounds and games, hebu angalia mambo kama my youth, concentrate on the youth and the women engagement. Mobilizing the ground, we involve these people. Even when we pull the resources together, let us focus on this demographic picture of the youth and the women engagement. Alafu this unanisikia?
Tunakusikia. Wewe mwenye anakutafuta na simu mwambie ngoje bana. Tuna fix country sahi.
Haya, sawa. Okay, another place yenye imetufail kabisa yenye tungekufocus, lakini we are very okay. If a church leader, if a pastor is only focused with the word of God, that is a pastor, that's a good pastor. But if a pastor is using the word of God to play politics, that is an idiot pastor. That's why they have failed these churches, mosques, schools, all that. Then the most important point, number 4, master the digital and the media strategy. Like now we are using social media. If we master it, kuna watu wakisimama kuongea point wako very influential, they have a large platform. Achana hizi zangu yenye niko nayo ya 4K, kuna watu wako na platform. How do we get these guys to put them together to spread the gospel? Haya, radios. If we can get favorable medias, radio station and TV station.
Ruda bwana, tulikuwa na summarize. Umemaliza submission ni sahihi na umeshinda hapa. Tunamalizia.
Haya, sawa. Namalizia hapo. Then the last one is to do the fundraising. We don't expect the politicians to say that mimi ndio niko na pesa ati tufanye hivi na hivi na hivi. Let us see what candidate are we fronting and how are we going to fund that candidate. I land there.
Asante sana, nashukuru sana, na you made a good point that I've made here before, that hii mambo ya kushindanga tumesema tupelekee akina mama civic education nyumbani, hiyo ni ujinga. Ni wajanja kutushinda karibu kabisa. Mimi nitumia example ya maziwa, huko tumia example ya mtata na Alai. Asante sana. Ivory ameuliza swali pale kwa chat, which is really worth investigating. The people who are in the forefront of organizing the movements. Ivory, and thank you very much for your question. Ameuliza, is there a portal where we can gauge and see where we, with the registrations, with the movement, with the people, with the numbers? I challenge people who are doing that to find smart people who can program and create websites to kind of, look at the numbers and become easy. I think these are the type of things that we're talking about. Hizi mambo za kufanya vitu analog na tuna digital haiwezekani. Leo uko hapo, mulienda Kila wanatupanganga hapa hivi kwa sababu hakuna banda atakuwa hata yuko hapa. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. And Justice, I think we've gotten to that point where it's okay to close. So if you can give us your last word and, next meeting, etc. itakuwa poa.
All of nice to each other in terms of I want to tell you that among the about 3 or 4 people they have just signed off who are from all people that are running for office with potential. So they have had and 2 of them, not numbers. Now the goal here is to continue mobilizing. Jadla, thank you for being an amazing co-host in helping to move the conversation forward. This is how we build the country together. And what you mentioned about youth empowerment, yes, we need to work on that and start empowering our young people so that they can also, have a voice. Sometimes ukiwa na njaa, you can be swayed in any direction depending on who give you money the last night. The only thing they don't know is that kupatia ya pombe utaamka anyway. So let's continue fighting together, and until tomorrow, I wish you a very good night. I will talk to you later. Thanks.